the second day of competition here at the Berlin 6-day. The opening night was absolutely fantastic. Fireworks from the Dernies to set things up, but on the track it was as well. Max Levy was fast, Amy Peters was super strong, and the world champion Teo Reinhardt certainly impressed as well. Madison Chases for the elite men. There's Morgan Koneski. He rode with Teo Reinhardt. They won the final Madison Chase, just to make sure that they were right up at the pointy end of the overall classification. Fantastic atmosphere here in Berlin. We're inside the venue, right in the middle of the track. Beers are flowing. Prost, it is. Cheers all around for the fans here in Berlin. Friday night, it's the party night here in Berlin. Everyone's come straight from work, straight to the track, thrown down a beer at the end of a working week, and they're enjoying the fantastic cycling that's on offer. Had plenty of races already tonight. The next one coming up, it's the team elimination for the men. I know the riders, the best teams, they don't mind this one, but for most of them, they dread it. It's such a difficult race to do. After that, we'll see the first Madison of the competition for the elite women. That's over 20 kilometres. Points race and a Dernie race for the men before we see the sprinters come out for the Kirin final. There was a big upset on the first night. Let's see what happens in the Kirin for tonight. The last race though tonight, 30-minute Madison Chase. We've already had one Madison tonight for the elite men. That was over 20 minutes. This one, it'll be the longest of the 2 days so far. This was the races we had earlier on today. The first Madison Chase was won by Team 15, the Austrians. And it was the two Andreases, Andreas Muller and Andreas Graf. They were able to take a second lap on the field. This is when they did that. So they took a lap on the field earlier on in the race. They took a second lap, the only team to take 2 laps in that race. They did it with 16 laps still to go, and that set them up for the win. Andreas Graf jumped straight onto his Dernie bike, and with the tired legs after the Madison, wasn't quite strong enough to get over the top of Josh Harrison on the inside from Australia. So the Aussie versus the Austrian, and it was the Aussie on the inside that just got to the line ahead of Andreas Graf. So Josh Harrison, he won the Dernie earlier tonight. So it was the first of the 2 Dernie heats that we'll see here on the second night here at the Berlin 6-day. The team elimination about to start. This is where they all sit in the general classification. Graf and Muller on the lead lap, all on their own, ahead of Koneski, Reinhardt, Strontinger and De Pauw, and Mark Hester with Oliver Wolf. They are the teams in contention for the overall classification. You can see the gaps already starting to open up. The rest of the teams either at least 3 laps behind. The last team on the track sitting 6 laps behind the overall leaders. So we're underway. It's the second race, or the second of the teams' races on night 2 here in Berlin. The team elimination for the elite men. And this is a tough one. Last team across the line every 3 laps is eliminated. Comes right down to the final sprint between the 2 teams. And it's Brian Bussiere in the danger zone. 30 points on offer for the winning team. It's vitally important for the teams that really want to go for the overall victory at the end of 6 nights, if they keep themselves right up in the points here in the team elimination. So we heard the sound of the bell. That's to indicate that this is an elimination lap. And it looks like Niels Weispenning, is it? Sebastian Schmiedel and Richard Banusch, German team. First team to go. They start to think about saving their legs now for that final 30-minute Madison that we'll see as the last race of the night. Oh, it's a little bit messy down towards the back. Team 31 now, in the most dangerous position. Moritz Malcharek, German rider, trying to keep himself in. He's not going to be able to do it. It will be team 31. Top of the track. Moritz Malcharek. He's from Berlin, 22 years of age, riding with Brian Bussiere, 23. from Ghent in Belgium, second team to be eliminated. Team number 23 start making their move. Elimination lap now coming. Look over the shoulder from team number 10. And Bartosz Riddick quickly got the realization that they're the last team on the track, and he's desperately trying to come around the outside to stay in the race, and it might be down on the inside. It will be. Shake of the head there from Stephen Bradbury. Nowhere to go. Down on the inside. That's the danger. It's much easier to ride on the inside, but then you've got nowhere to accelerate to try and stay in the race if they come high up around the outside. So Stephen Bradbury and Chris Latham, team number 2, out of the race. Polish combination still in the dangerous zone. Slavek, red number 10. Oh, a mischange happened there. So the Danish team, team 23. So they missed the change. That was a bit of a mess up for the team 23. Arnie Berker-Morzek and Anders Vinbo. Next team to go, and just a tactical error in the end. Look at that, shake of the head. They know that they messed that one up. And there it is there. You can see they weren't able to come down, get into the right position to make the change. So team 23. And once more it's team 10 that's really struggling to get themselves off the back of the group. Elimination lap this time as they come back around. He's got enough for Riddick to come up around the outside. So team 14, that's the Irish team, just getting themselves caught out underneath. And Mark Potts, along with JB Murphy, team 14 from Ireland. Mark Potts, the 28-year-old, he is the National Madison champion, but that's with Mark Downey, not with JB Murphy. We've seen Mark Downey riding with Felix English in previous editions of the Six-Day Series, and also Madison's at the World Cup level. Denis Rugovac, 26-year-old from the Czech Republic. Puts himself into second position. That puts all the pressure down on Moritz Augenstein. So very high on the track from Augenstein. A little bit of extra speed as he comes from height. And that's enough to keep himself in. And on the inside, it's team 13. Andy Tennant caught out on the inside. So Andy Tennant and Matt Bostock, the next to go. We did hear from Andy Tennant. He's come straight from a road training camp. So still just trying to get his track legs. He'll get better as the six-day competition goes on. '19-year-old Niels Weisvenning, he leads them through, and a big move from some of the more favoured teams over the top. Josh Harrison, straight off the Derny victory, and now on the inside, struggling, looking for his teammate Stephen Hall. It's going to be a late change from them, but skillful enough to get it done before the line, and that takes team 10 out of the race. So Bartosz Riddick, 21-year-old from Poland, and Damian Slavek, 22-year-old. Next team to go. So late change from the Aussies in the finishing straight. They need to be careful about where they make those changes. Stephen Hall gone straight to the front of the group. Now it's Wim Strottinger, team number 3. Vastly experienced Dutch rider, Wim Strottinger. Regular partner, Yuri Harvick, not here in Berlin. So combining now with Marino de Paul. See Strottinger just popping up around the outside of the group. And we'll go down to Henning Bommel, team number 4. Also a little shake of the head from Henning, just caught out on the inside. We see it so often. Henning was hoping for a little bit more then, but just with nowhere to go on the inside of the track. Bogan Koneski, three-time World Madison champion. He leads this remaining group of riders. Speed's very high. You can see the gaps that are opening up. Really high speed. Dennis Rugevac, team number 17. Rugevac on the wheel of Marino DePaul. DePaul just coming over Niels Weisfenning now. And it will be Weisfenning. So the 19-year-old, son of the former World Madison champion, Eric Weisfenning. Team number 32 out of the race. Weisfenning and Moritz Augenstein. Team 17 doing a great job. The team from the Czech Republic, Rugevac and Liknoski. Just a look under the shoulder there from Wim Strottinger in second last position. Just keeping an eye on Liknoski. I think Liknoski has conceded. He'll get himself a few points. He's quite happy to go out now. That's an indication of just how fast this team elimination has been. When the team sits on the back of the group and doesn't even try to make the effort to stay in, you know that it has been absolutely full gas. Stephen Hall now comes in off the change of Josh Harrison. We saw Marino DePaul, team number 3, going right to the front of the group. And Stephen Hall is in amongst all the big favoured teams now. So the top 4 teams in the general classification are all in front of Stephen Hall. Team 12 fighting to try and get over the top of the Austrians. He's not going to be able to get there though. So Stephen Hall and Josh Harrison, team number 12. When you look at the calibre of the teams that are left in the team elimination, and Stephen Hall and Josh Harrison can be happy with finishing 5th in this team elimination. So team 3, team 7, 1 and 15. They're the top 4 teams in the general classification, and they are the 4 teams left in the team elimination. Andreas Graf picked up the first Madison Chase win tonight. Over the top of the change of team 3. Mark Hester now fighting to come over Marino DePaul. And it does look like Marino is quite happy to rest up early for the rest of the evening. Wim Strottinger and Marino DePaul. Dutch-Belgian combination. Very experienced, these two. And that leaves 3. Team 15, the Austrians on the front. There's Theo Reinhardt, the World Madison champion, number 1. Mark Hester, team number 7 from Denmark with Oliver Wolf. Here comes Oliver. The 19-year-old comes in, and he's very fast, Oliver Wolf. Look over the shoulder from Andreas Muller. Reinhardt, 3 wide down the back straight. Muller on the inside. Reinhardt, the world champion, in the middle. And it's Oliver Wolf, the teenager from Denmark, that comes over the top. And it's the veteran in his 20th edition here at the Berlin Six-Day. Consecutive races over 20 years, an extraordinary history for Andreas Muller. Team number 15 eliminated. So 2 teams remaining. They'll come around to get the bell. They didn't make a change, so both very fatigued, but we know how fast Oliver Wolf is. Theo Reinhardt versus Oliver Wolf Frederiksen. Germany versus Denmark. The World Madison champion versus the up-and-comer, the teenager, in second position. But he's fast and he's furious, and he's gone on the attack. Oliver Wolf, team number 7. This could be a big upset win here in the team elimination from Oliver Wolf. Theo Reinhardt, the World Madison champion. He wants to come around for the win, and he's going to be able to do it. It looked like Oliver Wolf had enough to get there, but it was Theo Reinhardt with the stronger legs. Team elimination victory for team number 1. see the tactics of it. Oliver Wolf ducked down underneath. And at the effort in the face there, the strain on Theo Reinhardt will get onto the back wheel of Oliver Wolf. In outright speed, I think Oliver Wolf would be faster between these two, but at the end of a team elimination, it comes down to strength. And that's something that Theo Reinhardt has in bundles. 30 points, maximum win there for Theo Reinhardt with Morgan Kineski. Confirmation. Morgan Kineski and Theo Reinhardt, winners of the team elimination, 30 points added to their tally. So great for the overall classification for team number 1. Good ride from Hester and Wolf, Graf and Muller. That was a big performance as well. Strottinger and Tapau. They are the top 4 teams in the overall classification, the top 4 in the team elimination as well. So it really is becoming a battle between those 4 teams. Good ride by Hall and Harrison to finish 5th. Lugovac and Lichnowsky from the Czech Republic in 6th place. But it was the usual suspects right at the very top. Team number 1. Let's go down to Matt Rendell with our team elimination winners.
Morgan, Theo, here we are again. Theo, was that a little mistake by Oliver Wolf there? He's very quick over the shorter distance. He tried to take you long.
Yeah, I was a little bit surprised when he go under me. I thought, okay, I have it on the bund, but yeah, then he go up, down, and I have to push it really hard to take it back wheel, but it worked well at the end, so we are very happy.
And listen, big Madison at the end of the evening. You expended a lot of energy there. And Morgan, you've got a journey race coming on. How do you play it? Do you save energy, get knocked out, stay at the back and save it for the Madison?
I don't know. Now we have some points advantage about compared to our adversaire. So I will try to follow, and if I have the good legs, I would try to take the win, but the big objective to the end of the night is the Madison, yes.
Well, listen, great riding so far. Well done, Theo. Well done, Morgan. We'll speak to you later.
Well, they are the big favourites for the overall classification. 5 World Madison Championships between them. Morgan Kineski has 3, and it's Theo Reinhardt, current World Madison Champion, with 2. Andreas Graf and Andreas Muller, though, with that 1 lap advantage, but the points that are starting to add up for team number 1 in Kineski and Reinhardt in 2nd place. The first of that block of 3 teams that sit 1 lap behind. Then you get down to the group of teams that are 3 laps behind. So a lot of work for them to do if they want to get themselves in contention for the podium after 6 days of racing. Great atmosphere here in Berlin. Still plenty of racing still to come, and looking forward to seeing the women's Madison over 20 kilometres. That will be the next race to come onto the track. First night, of course, they had the Omnium events, and for the ladies tonight, it's all teams events. So the current World Madison Champion with the traditional rainbow stripes on the right-hand side, Theo Reinhardt, and the former World Madison Champion on the left with the vertical stripes. And for the 3 Madison World Championships that Morgan Kineski won, each time it was a different partner. So just showing the quality of Morgan to combine so well with 3 different French riders to win 3 gold medals at World Madison Championship level. For Theo, it's been Roger Kluger the last 2 years that he's won the World Championships with. Berlin fans loving the fact that Theo Reinhardt is being so strong, so competitive, but it's what we expect from the German champion. The world champion, the Madison, has been so consistent over the last couple of seasons at the 6-day competition. See the ladies getting themselves on the track and ready for their next event, which is the 20-kilometre Madison. And we can look back now at the Omnium. This is day one competition, the women's Omnium. And these two riders in the final event, so they had 4 races in the Omnium. The last was the points race, the most difficult of the races on the track. And that's Amy Peters, number 31, and also Lisa Klein. They took 2 laps on the field and come away with the Omnium Day 1 winner. Tonight, though, we saw the team elimination, and it was Eleanor Barker with a fantastic ride with Katie Archibald to win the team elimination. That was the first race that we saw the women race tonight. So great Omnium competition that was won by Amy Peters on night 1. And the first race tonight, that was won by Eleanor Barker, along with Katie Archibald, team number 9. In the overall classification, Barker and Archibald lead the way, 8 points ahead of the world Madison champions Kirsten Field and Amy Peters. Emily Nelson and Manon Lloyd, they have been the dominant 3 teams. And the sisters from Poland, Daria and Victoria Piccolo, they sit in 4th place, but on equal points with Lisa Klein and Katarina Hickler. Lisa Klein, she was strong, finishing 2nd in the Omnium on the first night. A long way down the classification before that final points race, gaining 2 laps on the field with Amy Peters. That was enough to give them 40 points each to their totals. That put them up into 1st and 2nd in that first night. We're on to night 2 now. This is the second race. It's the 20-kilometre Madison. And this is with UCI Madison rules, so not the same regulations as we've been seeing from the men's Madison races, which is the old rules. You take a lap on the field, you're now 1 lap ahead on the lead lap in front. This is all about points. You take a lap in this race, you get 20 points added to your total. And with the sprints along the way, the team with the most points at the very end, they will come out the winner regardless of how many laps have been taken or not. Just to explain it all, if you gain a lap, you get 20 points. Intermediate sprints, 5, 3, 2, and 1 point. Top 4 placings. And the final sprint, very special. 10 points up for the winner there. Double points, 10, 6, 4, and 2. Eleanor Barker leads them down the back straight. Just tentative steps to start with. Still puts herself right back onto the front though, Eleanor Barker. I'll come around to get 75 laps to go. Sprints every 10 laps. So just jostling for position, but not at full speed just yet. And we can see the big favourites, the world champions, in 2nd position now. Kirsten Field, Katie Archibald that leads the way. Kirsten Field now comes through, and Archibald, just see how far she goes back down the group. She doesn't want to go too far back. 74 laps to go. A couple more laps and they'll be the first of the intermediate sprints. So the World Madison and World Omnium champion, Kirsten Field, sits on the front. Emily Nelson pops over the top. Katie Archibald rolls around as well. Barbieri from Italy is there. And we can see the pace now just starting to pick up, really starting to fight for position because they know they have to be in the right posse if they're going to have a chance to go for the first sprints. 5, 3, 2, and 1 points on offer. 72 laps. They get the bell the next time they come around. So Katie Archibald it is that comes around the outside of Manon Lloyd. Amy Peters is on the wheel. So this is the first of the intermediate sprints. We'll see them every 10 laps right down to that double points final sprint. Eleanor Barker it is that leads down the back straight. Amy Peters, the world champion, in 2nd place. It's going to be tough for Amy Peters to try and get over the top of Eleanor Barker though. So the leaders in the overall classification, they pick up the first of the bonus sprints. 5 points go to Barker and Archibald ahead of the World Madison champions in Amy Peters and Katie Archibald. Now there has been a tumble just after the finish line. The Danish team number 7 has gone down. So perfect segue. Hopefully they're both okay, but while team number 7 from Denmark has crashed on the inside of the track there just past the finish line, team number 7 from the elite men's race, Mark Hester, comes up into the commentary position. So welcome to you, Mark.
Thank you.
That's not good. It's not good to see the ladies go down, unfortunately.
No, she's lying down. It's, yeah, I think normally it's worse than it's not as bad as it looks. So,
well, one of the challenges around the Berlin Six-Day venue here is on the inside of the track, that red area down the inside, that's a rubber surface, which sounds nice to fall on rubber, but it also is very grippy. So when you land on that, it really does pull you. It's possible to dislocate a shoulder because of that surface.
Yeah, exactly. It really, it stops you immediately.
So because of that, we are going to have a neutralisation. So after one of the intermediate sprints, see one of the Danish riders hasn't been able to get back on.
So das Rennen ist neutralisiert zu diesem Zeitpunkt. Das bedeutet, solange die Sanitäter dort im Einsatz sind, ist das Rennen also zu diesem
So I
Zeitpunkt.
think that is Sunelda Svenholmer, 18-year-old, that hasn't been able to get up. So they have brought out a stretcher to get her off the track, so just neutralising the race while that happens. A little bit of confusion there. We can see Alexander Donica, Chief Commissaire in the blue UCI jacket, very experienced track race official. So safety purposes. So while that is taking charge, talk about the last little event we just saw from the elite men, Mark, was the team elimination, and it was the top 4 teams that went for it. Such pressure, so important to really be in the mix, and you guys were second place.
Yeah, it's a really important discipline. A lot of points on the play, and yeah, as you see, it's 4 teams kind of already escaped the rest of the field. So it's both a mind game and a strength game. So we have to stay up there, all of us, with the points, and yeah, it's obvious everybody has the same plan at the moment.
It's interesting, isn't it? We see Svenholmer just being taken off the track. Was it? It might have been like a Quada, it was actually, 28-year-old. So you can only play the mind game if you have the strength. That's the point, isn't it?
Yeah, it is, absolutely. But as you also know, by doing a lot of 6 days, that it's a matter of getting yourself in the best possible position before the last hour chase. For the rest of it, you pick and choose a little bit what you want to score points in, but the top field being so narrow this year, that it makes no room for just missing out one discipline, then you can lose the race.
Yeah.
So you can't really hide that much, and it makes this race super hard for the top 4 teams.
It has been, hasn't it? It's great to see also with the Madison coming back into the Olympic Games this year. It also has put a lot of extra pressure and importance on all of the Madison races that are leading up to the Olympic Games for the extra experience that's needed, and in particular for the ladies. It's the first time that we'll see the Madison at the Olympics for the women. It's only been at the World Championship level for a couple of years, so incredibly important for these riders to get as much experience as possible.
Exactly. I think you see the direct effect of it, that such big riders as in the women's field here are actually prioritizing Berlin 6-Day over the World Cup in Milton, just to get the experience and the technique correct. And here they're able to do multiple Madison events. They did a team elimination earlier, which is also really technical. So I think that's one of the effects you see from it, that a Madison is both strength, but if you don't have the technique, you have absolutely no chance.
Absolutely, that's correct. So the experience gives you a better opportunity to go for medals. And we're now back underway with 66 laps to go. So any of the riders that might have been struggling slightly have had an opportunity to get a little bit of extra rest that they weren't expecting. And we're straight back into it now. So 5 laps until the next point sprint. And it's the Polish combination, the sisters, Victoria and Daria Pikulik, 23-year-old and 21. So Victoria is the younger one, 21. And Daria, they're both together the national Madison champions for Poland. you give themselves a nice little move here. Daria, perhaps the more accomplished of the two sisters. The national points race, scratch race, omnium and elimination champion, so she really has dominated the Polish championships, Daria. So what do you see that's a difference, perhaps, Mark, in the women's racing compared to you know, the experience that you have as an elite male in the 6 days and World Cup level, World Championship level? What is it that we're seeing when we watch the women do their Madisons?
I think particularly there is a big difference between the strength of the top field to the middle field. I think especially the two Dutch girls, their technique is really, really good. Whereas the two British girls, they're really relying on super strength. You see here now for the sprint, for example, they lost 20 meters just by doing the change. That's one of the things that can win or lose a championship. So I think that's also the main reason why such strong riders as Eleanor Barker and Katie Archibald is here, that they really need to train their technique.
They certainly do. We saw it was Lydia Boylan that came away with that sprint win just by going nice and early, hit out very early into the sprint, and that gave them the 5 points. So there's so much at play, and this is the difference, I guess, with Madisons that people at home, that if you haven't raced them before, in an individual race, you need to think 2 or 3 laps ahead to make sure you're in the right position coming towards the sprint. In the Madisons, it's 5 laps ahead. You have to start thinking about being in the right position to throw your teammate in so that they can then throw you in turn in at exactly the right moment to go for maximum points.
Yeah, it's a little bit different to doing a scratch race or a point race where you only have to think about yourself. I think especially the Dutch team has done a really smart thing by actually hiring the former sprinter Tim Veld as a coach, because there is a little bit of sprinter's technique and tactic in the Madison by doing the sprinter's gaps for the before the changes, leading out the sprints correctly. And Tim has done 6 days on professional level, and he's been a world-class sprinter as well. So I think that's also why you see they're wearing this beautiful jersey, that they have a great mind behind them. So that's also one of the things, like, you might not always see the same riders be good at a points race as you do as a Madison.
Starting to make themselves into the right position now for the next sprint. They'll come around again, 54 laps to go. This is what we're talking about, where you need to start thinking 4 or 5 laps ahead in a Madison compared to the individual races.
Yeah, it's a calculation, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's you know already with 7 laps to go, you know exactly when you have to come in. If you're aware, normally you're counting 7, 4, 1, and the girl that comes in at 7 is also the girl that's going to do the sprint. So for the rest, it's a matter of timing when you're out of the race, and you have to think about that with a heart rate of 190. So it's a really strange game.
So Barbieri it is that comes through, 52 laps to go. So the next sprint, you can see how early it starts in these Madisons. It really is a sprint fest when it comes to the women's Madison race. Kirsten Wild up in a 2nd position. And look at Katie Archibald around the outside. So she's looking for Eleanor Barker. Sound of the bell. And a bit of a squeeze underneath, and an awkward change though between Barker and Archibald.
Win the sprint.
So that really has taken them out of contention, or has it? Because here comes Eleanor. She's come from height. Amy Peters, the world champ, around the outside. And Barker, she gets there for 2nd place. Amy Peters come away with 5 points. But gee, that was a really messed up change. You can see it here. They've changed out in front, but as Eleanor Barker's looked ahead, she can see these riders out in front of her. She didn't know what to do, to go over or under. She went over, and that cost them some points.
Yeah, and exactly what happened here, you see the importance of timing the sprints correctly. If you notice that it was actually not Kirsten Wild doing the sprint, even though she's the faster one of the two, but she used all of her strength to get in the correct position and gave a perfect change to her partner, Amy Peters. And she didn't even have to go full, because she was put in 2nd wheel with a powerful change, and she just rolled over the Italian girl. That's how you do a perfect Madison swing in a championship.
Combining very well the world champions. So you're listening to Mark Hester, who's just come off the track from the men's team elimination race. Still have.
And now you see they changed it around. Kirsten came in at 7, so Kirsten will do the next sprint then. So they swapped it immediately after the sprint. Really, really clever riding. And that's really good work from the side of the track of the coach, for sure.
So Marlene de Zutter just changing to Tessa Dijksman. We do have an onboard camera with Marlene, so perhaps next time that she comes back in, we might be able to go in and see what it's like inside that peloton. Archibald, and a bit of an attack now as well. So typically a sprint fest between the women's races, but this is Finja Schmeckel, the 18-year-old. She's from Cologne, the other side of Germany from Berlin, closer to the Belgian border. Schmeckel is riding with Lisa Kollmann, a 26-year-old from Frankfurt. And they weren't letting that one go. Look over the shoulder from Finja. And you'll see the imposing figure of Eleanor Barker in second position. So Kollmann comes in for the change. And I haven't seen a lot from this team. Team number 2, they sit third in the overall classification. And now Manon Lloyd. She won a World Cup Madison in 2016 with Katie Archibald. So Manon Lloyd, she knows how to get around to Madison. She'll be looking for Emily Nelson. They sit third in the overall classification. And they'll come around to get the bell this time. So acceleration from Eleanor Barker. Amy Peters in second position. Archibald will be the rider to come in to do the sprint. Amy Peters will be looking for Kirsten Wild, and that's a very late change. She will get an acceleration, but it's not going to be enough to get up to Katie Archibald. So just way too late to do a change there, Mark.
Yeah, there you see the importance of the girl who's out of the race. Kirsten should have relaxed when she was out of the race and get the change half a lap earlier. So that's the importance of the teamwork in a Madison like this. She should be able to see forward even though she was not actually in the race. So that's how confusing it can be on the track and for the spectator as well. So
look, it's a thinking person's race, and we'll see that that gives a nice little 3-point lead to team number 9, Barker and Archibald over Kirsten Wild, and Amy Peters, the world champion, team number 1. It's Lisa Klein that leads them through, the German time trial champion on the road, former German road race champion as well. So Peters now comes in to change to Kirsten Wild. They've just got to get their timing right for those particular sprints. When it comes every 10 laps as well, it's thick and fast. They just had one sprint, they've had a little bit of a breather, and then boom, they're getting ready for the next one as well. But that's the nature of Madison racing. That's what's going to be the gold medal on offer at the Olympic Games later this year. They've still got the defence of their World Championships,
which is actually here in Berlin
on this track. So they get a really good practice on this particular track. And so this is on board now with Marlene de Zutter, 20-year-old from the Netherlands, and that's Lauren Perry that sits in behind her, or is it Nicola McDonald, Australian team number 3? Nicola McDonald is living in South Australia in Adelaide, but she's from Newcastle, which is north of Sydney. And there's Lauren Perry, the Tasmanian, now coming in. Wasn't sure if that was a grimace or a smile. I think it was a grimace.
Yeah, I think so. It's not easy racing. It's really, really tough when you have to sprint every 2.5 kilometers. I can just say to people outside on the road, just mark it out on your Garmin or whatever you're using and try to do a full sprint of 250 meters every 2.5 kilometers. It's not easy.
And then throw a bunch of other bike riders and other things in front of you as well that you have to dodge and get around.
Yeah, and you still have to be in the race halfway in between the sprints as well. And it's everybody is always focusing on how high is the average speed and all these kind of things. Actually, the average speed doesn't even matter in the thought of of the hardness. It's the tempo changes that really kills you.
And the intelligence of the riders, that's for sure, making sure they're in the right position to have a chance to go for the points. And it was a perfectly timed change between Archibald and Barker. Kirsten Wild, the world champ, in second place. She's not going to be able to close this one down either. And you can see the advantage of changing at the right time on the sprint lap.
Yeah, and Kirsten, she did 4 laps there. So they missed it out a little bit. And that's just the difference. In a scratch race, I think they're more equal in a sprint, these two girls. But coming in 1 lap before against the girl who's been in for 4 laps, then you see the difference.
Visible difference, wasn't it? Shamla Barker off the change of Archibald, great acceleration. And that has forced a bit of a gap though. So 3 teams now off the front. You can see the peloton has been completely disintegrated by that acceleration in the last sprint. Archibald now keeping the pressure on. You can see the body language there of Amy Peters. It was pretty tough just to go at the speed of Archibald. The sister pairing from Poland in the blue jerseys, Pikulik, Victoria and Daria, they make the changeover. So confirmation, Team 9, then 1, 30 and 2. And Team 2 it is that's just making the bridge across now to those 3 teams in front. So a bit of a buffer now starting to open up. Still a couple of sprints to go and double points on the final sprint, 10, 6, 4 and 2. So there's still plenty of points on offer. And Kirsten Wild and Amy Peters will have an opportunity still to come away with the win, but it really has been a race between those 2 teams. So even if they win all the sprints now, if team number 9 finish second each time, they might not be able to get enough points to keep the win.
No, and I think actually Kirsten Wild already realized that, because she was slowing way down when they were sitting the 3 teams, and I think she's actually interested in getting more people involved in the sprints. So if they're lucky, they can get 1 or 2 teams in between for 1 sprint, and that will close the gap for them. So you see they're slowing down just to get more riders in the mix and see if they can catch the British girls in the chaos a little bit, you know.
Well, they need to know, they probably need to go very early into a sprint, take a couple of teams with them as well. But I don't know if they'll be able to get the better of Barker and Archibald. They have been combining very well so far. 22 laps to go. They'll come around to get the bell for another sprint.
And you see here she goes, Amy, over the British girls. You see now they're trying to catch them a little bit. Oh,
and that was close.
And you see now they got caught. Now they got caught.
Well, this is to the advantage now of
exactly
the world champions.
That's exactly what they wanted.
And it will be a late change though between Peters and Kirsten Wild.
Archibald is coming as well.
Oh, and it was a messy one that's allowed Katie Archibald to come over the top. So despite the messy change and the near crash, Lisa Klein comes across to get the point win, 5 points for them. Archibald for second, 3 points. 2 points for Kirsten Wild. And down on the inside, it was Sneakle that will get the 1 point for fourth. Gee, there was so much that went on.
Yeah.
Almost a crash there from Katie Archibald. Late change from the world champions. Wow.
Yeah, and I think tactically they did the correct thing. I think Katie is just so much stronger than the other girls at the moment. So they did the right thing, but they couldn't handle it anyway against the British girls.
Well, Katie Archibald, that was heart-in-mouth stuff, almost clutching the wheel there of Amy Peters and going down. And I'm glad to see confirmation. So it was Klein that crossed the line first to get the maximum points for Team 15 with Heckler. Barker and Archibald with 3 points, and that gives them another point lead. So it's 6 points now to the advantage, 9 over 1. 2 sprints still to come.
Yeah.
So 15 points maximum still to be gained. It's mathematically possible.
It's mathematically possible. If the 2 Dutch girls, they win the last 2 sprints, they're ending up on the same amount of points, and they will be winning the race still. So it's still all possible.
I'm glad to see a team that's a little bit further behind in the general classification, then taking the advantage and going on the attack. So you've got your big 2 teams that are racing for the win, walking after each other and really marking each other out. So Team 29, and that's Lydia Boylan and Maggie Coles-Lister. So the Irish and Canadian combination looking to try and gain a lap on the field. Now, this is different regulations, as I mentioned before, to what we see in the elite men's race in the 6-day series. You take a lap on the field here, it's 20 points added to your total. It's not a lap gain that you see in the men's race. And a third of a lap ahead. Getting close to the penultimate sprint now as well as Katie Archibald swings up. Kirsten Wild not willing to go through and contribute. And the hesitation from the main group is to the advantage of Team 29. This is Maggie Coles-Lister, Canadian, just about to catch the back of the Australian pairing.
Which also confirms that they were not smiling before, because they lost the field. So there was not a smile before, it was a grimace.
It was definitely a grimace from the Aussies. It was Lauren Perry that we saw. Now it's 11 laps to go. So Bell lap, and there's the race on for 3 points behind. Kirsten Wild goes over the top of Katie Archibald. And there will be a change made by both of these teams. Amy Peters comes in at a perfect time down the back straight. Archibald a little bit later until she gets to Eleanor Barker. It'll be Boylan, Team 29, to get the maximum points. Amy Peters picks up 3. And it's the combination team number 9, Eleanor Barker, that comes across the line in third place for the 2 points. So only 1 point back to the advantage of the world champions.
Yeah,
it's not enough.
No, because you see how important it is to actually have your head screwed on correctly. Even though you have a high heart rate, the British girls, they were really, really clever. They were interested in keeping the team number 29 out in front to take the big points, because now they only have to sit in the wheel of the Dutch girls and they will win. So that was really, really clever, just to keep them out there for the sprint.
One sprint still to come. It's double points, 10, 6, 4 and 2. Team 1 and Team 9 absolutely glued to each other now. There has been another attack, so there's 2 teams that have just popped off the front. Team 29 is out there and been joined by the Italians as well. So that's taken Team 29 up into third place, 11 points, that last sprint win that they got. So that's been a good result for them, best of the rest, because it really has been a race between Teams 9 and Team 1.
I think we will see a little bit the same when we hit the World Championships in a few weeks. It will be a big fight between these two girls, teams, and I think with when you bring in the A squad from Australia, the Danish girls and the Belgian girls, then you'll see a really hard fight between 5 teams. So this is already a mind game for the World Championships.
Confidence booster for one of them at the moment. It's Barker and Archibald that seem to be the stronger of the two. Both the world champions and Team 9 have made a few mistakes in this particular Madison. But it's Team 9 that's leading the way. Look over the shoulder from Eleanor Barker. She'll come around to get 3 laps to go. One more change to be made. Barker will go to Katie Archibald. Katie's need to go. I'm just looking outside the track here to see where Archibald is to make sure that there is one more change that's going to be possible.
Yeah, and they're just behind each other. If I was Kirsten Wild, I would actually stop pedaling and make sure I get the change much earlier than Katie, so she can go over when they're changing.
Well, the sprint started early. It's Emily Nelson.
And they're changing perfectly now, both teams.
Come around to get 1 lap to go now. The last lap, double points on offer. Archibald it is that's gone into the final lap over the top of Emily Nelson. Kirsten Wild's going to be coming, though, the world champion. Archibald versus Wild. Archibald will come away with the Madison win, but Wild wants to salvage something, and she's not going to be able to do it. Maximum points go to KG Archibald, her and Eleanor Barker. Comfortably come away the winners of the 20-kilometre Madison for the women. The world champions put to the sword, Kirsten Wild and Amy Peters. Bit of extra pressure going towards the World Championships in a month's time. An adjustment of the visor as well. We saw just the helmet moving on Katie Archibald's head. Back into full focus. Kirsten Wild, the world champ, couldn't get to the back wheel and come around. So maximum points go to the dominant team. Team number 9, Katie Archibald and Eleanor Barker. Thanks to you, Mark Hester. I know you've got some racing to do, so you better head downstairs and get ready for the next one. Good luck for the rest of the competition to Mark Hester.
Thank you.
Par number 2, team number 7 from Denmark, along with Oliver Wolf. But in the women's race, all the way with Katie and Eleanor. 36 points in the end with that 10-point double point sprint at the final. Ahead of team number 1, the world champions, Kirsten Wild and Amy Peters on 27. They were completely dominant, those two teams. Lydia Boylan and Maggie Coles-Lister. Great ride from them. Attacking performance to put them up into 3rd place. Daria and Victoria Pikulik. Consistent ride as well, picking up some points to finish 4th. Well, great atmosphere here in Berlin. And matched down with the winners. They were dominant in the Madison for the women, Katie Archibald and Eleanor Barker.
Katie, Eleanor, outstanding again. A lot of pressure on there. It all came down to the final sprint. And so in a sense, down to the final, the logic of the final changes. You had to do well in that sprint. You won that sprint.
You're totally right that the timing was so important. Emily is probably the fastest rider here tonight. You know, she won the scratch race yesterday. You've seen her consistently top end speed there, but we won because we could do that consistently sprint after sprint with the timing and be a bit more conservative, I suppose. So, yeah, happy.
And if I can take you all the way back to 50 laps to go, there was a slightly complicated hand sling there that lost you a couple of points. But in a sense, making the mistakes is important. It means you've got something that you learn from, as well as, you know, just taking the win.
Yeah, it's really important to learn from those. And it's quite hard at the time because you've only got the view either looking straight forward or straight back. So it's quite hard to really pinpoint things. So it's nice to be able to look after on video and maybe see a bit more clearly where we should have, I don't know, gone under or over or done it a little bit differently next time. So next time in this situation, we'll know what to do.
Setting that aside, outstanding both of you. Well done. Thank you very much.
In there, and Katie Archibald almost clipped the back wheel of Amy Peters at one point, but they all survived. Unfortunately, just one of the riders going down. Team number 7 having to be eliminated after a crash. It was unfortunate for them. And this is how it was done. Average heart rate for both of the riders. The maximum heart rate, well, the winner there was Eleanor Barker, 188 beats per minute. It was Katie Archibald, that final sprint, 69.1 kilometres per hour, the maximum speed. Picked up 10 points and the overall win. And a bit of a difference between who was the most active within the race then as well, with Archibald spending more time in. In the overall classification now, 142 points. They lead the way. Barker and Archibald ahead of the World Madison champions, Wild and Peters, Nelson and Lloyd. Still the best of the rest in 3rd place on 102 points. Down to Daria and Victoria Pikulik from Poland in 4th place. In the overall classification, still plenty of races to come though. Another night of racing for the ladies, still 4 nights to come for the men.
Der Startschuss zum Runde 5, der kommt dann gleich von Jacques Hautigiani.
Race director Dieter Stein on the right-hand side, doing the presentations here on the infield with Katie and Eleanor. And I cannot wait for the World Madison Championships. It will be fascinating for the elite women. So important this year, strategically important because of the nature of the Olympic Games still to come, qualifications still to be set, teams to be finalised. The crowd certainly have been enjoying the show here on the 2nd night of the Berlin 6-day. 3 nights of competition for the ladies. It's 6 days, of course, for the elite men. And a great atmosphere indeed. Now, we had Mark Hester up here before during the Women's Madison, just now been joined by Chris Latham. So Chris, welcome to you firstly.
Hello, you all right?
Tell us how it's been, first 2 days of racing.
It's been all right, to be fair, actually, yeah. We're a bit unlucky in that last chase yesterday. Didn't get a lap we needed to, but just more, you know, positioning and stuff like that. So try and go again this next one.
I can see the crowds here in Berlin, and we last spoke to you in London at the Six Day there. Fantastic atmosphere at the London Six Day. Likewise here in Berlin. This is much more of a traditional event. This is the 109th edition of the Berlin Six as well. Do you notice the difference between the events and the atmosphere? And obviously the tracks that are slightly different, but what about the atmosphere and everything around it?
The atmosphere is definitely there, especially tonight as well. A lot more people in, but I think for being a Brit, you know, it's obviously better in London. They're going to cheer the Brits on a bit more. But yeah, no, it's a great atmosphere right now.
You can see the start list for the next race that's coming up, and that's why Chris is here. Chris Latham not in the points race. You see Taya Reinhardt, though, the world champion. Also Stephen Bradbury, Marino de Paul, one of the favourites as well. Andreas Muller, the veteran from Berlin originally, races for Austria. Rugovac, Finbo, Banush, Alcharek and Moritz Augenstein at the end. So sprint every 5 laps in the point race, over 7.5 kilometres, which is 30 laps of the velodrome. It's Marino de Paul that comes through to get 1 lap to go before they get the race underway. And Chris, this is one of those races where you don't really want to, if you're racing for the overall classification, you know how important the final chase is going to be, you know how important the team elimination is, yet there are points up for grabs here. To really go for them, it's going to hurt. You need to really judge the amount of effort you need to put in some of these sorts of races.
Yeah, especially for those that are kind of up there on the classification. They want to, you know, they don't want to go all out, but they want to be there or thereabouts and sweep up a few more points. Because you don't get as many, and but it's still worth, you know, being up there, you know, third or something, third or fourth is all right.
Rugovac, it is from the Czech Republic that leads them through, and all down the bottom of the track now. Normal points race rules. Gain a lap on the field, 20 points added. Intermediate sprints every 5 laps though in this one, so they do come very quick in between 5, 3, 2 and 1. And again, double points on that final sprint, 10, 6, 4 and 2. Being a short race, the double point sprints certainly can make a very big change. Now your teammate Stephen Bradbury, he's out there. What are you expecting from Steve?
Same again. I don't think he's not going to kill himself. You know, try and get as many points as he can, win all the sprints, you know. But I think try and position himself well, just get a few, and it'll be worth it. Like, in fact, you know, he's stayed on the front here, so maybe he is going for it.
It looks like he's going to now, so it's hard to leave yourself out in these sprints. It takes a big effort.
Yeah.
Keep looking over his shoulder. So Bradbury, watch his heart rate go up. It'll be really peaking once they get past the finish line, though. So he's on the inside. Stephen Bradbury trying to hold on for the win. He's not going to be able to. It'll be 3rd place for him. So it's a big effort to get just the 2 points. And that's where it gets tricky in these types of races.
Yeah, he used a lot of energy there, didn't he, for 3rd.
Anders Finbo, the 23-year-old from Denmark, come away with the maximum points. Stephen Hall from Australia, he was in 2nd place, and perhaps the biggest effort that was put in was your teammate Chris Latham in Stephen Bradbury, 2 points. So at least he's on the board, but he will need to just judge his effort a little bit, because certainly someone has to lead out. And this time it was Stephen. Unfortunately, when you do lead out, you'd like to come away with the 5 points, the maximum.
Yeah, you need to be, you've got to be really strong, don't you? You know, a real strong sprinter as well as to do that. But yeah, 2 points is all right, better than nothing.
It's better than nothing, absolutely. So Taya Reinhardt, a rider that we're looking to perhaps conserve some energy in this one. There's the winner of that first sprint. They do come every 5 laps, so they'll come around and get 22 laps to go. Laps counts for points in this one. So gain a lap on the field, and you'll get 20 points added to your total. And this has gone long range. This is Richard Banush, 21-year-old from Fetchow. It's just down the road in Cottbus. This is the race for 2nd place. It will be Banush that will get the 5 points. And certainly a big fight there for 2nd. But Banush with the 5 points. They've opened up a little bit of the gap, but it was such a big effort for that particular sprint, Chris, that even though the gap opens up, you might be watching at home thinking, well, they might as well should just go on with it. They've got a gap over the field, but it's not that easy, is it?
It's just, I think because you're on such a small gear, it's quite hard to keep that going, you know, like you're properly spinning out there, to keep that going well hard, you know, on the lungs.
Me being an old-time six-day rider, I find it very interesting to talk about how small the gears are. We see confirmation of the points where they all sit at the moment. So 2 riders on equal points at the very top. The gears are restricted here at the Six-Day Series. So they're riding on the old-school 95-inch gear ratio. But that's still so much bigger than the traditional gears that were raced in the 6 days.
Yeah, no, it's, for me, like, 95's tiny. Coming from, like, Team 2 kind of background, it's like, even Madison, we do Madison on 102, you know, we do Team 2 on 110 or something, you know, it's moved, you know, it's gone way on now. For me personally, I do struggle with the cage and get short of breath quicker.
Well, there's another one of the team of shooters in the middle there. Andy Tennant, 13, trying to get some points. He will get some. It'll be 2 for Tennant. But looks like Rugovac it was that might have picked up the 5 points. So we can see it's an opportunity for some of the teams that are a little bit further down the classification to just get some points to their tally. And while the big teams are really focusing on that final Madison chase, we can see just how hard-fought these particular sprints are. Rugovac with the 5 points, ahead of Nalcharek, Andy Tennant and Stephen Bradbury, so another point. So that's 3 points now for your teammate, Stephen Bradbury. So that's good for the overall classification, a few extra points to your tally. Fascinating to see the smaller teams, or perhaps the less favoured teams for the outright podium, really putting in some big efforts in these sprints.
Yeah, because it's such a short race, it's almost worth just literally sitting on until the final sprint, try and go for the 10 points, because not many people get 10 points. So you're guaranteed probably a top 3 there. You know, you'd have to do 2 sprints and sprint in the final to beat it. So it's almost worth just fully sitting on. But it is a big gamble.
This is the 3rd last sprint now. 11 laps to go. Teo Reinhardt it is that leads down the back straight. And it'll be interesting to see if he puts in a big effort for this one. They're really starting to stack 5 wide up around the outside. Teo Reinhardt will pick up some points, but it's not the maximum points. Anders Finbo it is from Denmark over the top. So 5 points for him. Reinhardt will pick up 2 points for 3rd across the line. So the young Danish rider, 23 years of age. 2 more sprints to come. Double points, as Chris Latham mentioned, on the last one. Stephen Hall it is that's gone on the attack. So Finbo leads the way. 2 sprint wins, 10 points for him. So Stephen Hall from Perth in Western Australia, putting in a big effort. He wants some hesitation back in the peloton. Another look over the shoulder to see if the gap is starting to open up or not. And he is desperately hoping that the peloton starts to slow down, because it's going to be a big effort if they start sprinting and he doesn't get any points. He should be able to hold on. He gets the bell for the penultimate sprint. Now for Western Australia, and this is going to be a challenge. He should be big enough. He's a fair enough way in front of the field, so Stephen Hall should be able to pick up the 5 points, but gee, what an effort that he's put in to gain 5 points here. This is the sprint for 2nd place. JB Murphy from Ireland that comes through. Hall gets first. 5 points to Stephen Hall. And it's only 5 laps to the last sprint, 10 points on offer. And you can just see the body language indicates that Stephen Hall is going to try and hold on this last sprint. He's labouring though. Chris Latham, come on, have a look. Do you think Stephen Hall can hold on now? It's only 4 laps to go.
I don't know, he's got a big face on there, hasn't he? 4 laps to go. I mean, they closed it quite quick there on the sprint, so I don't think he will, to be fair.
The crowd are behind him now. They can see what he's trying to do. Double points on this final sprint. Henning Bommel is leading the peloton through. It's going to be a massive massive effort. Forget about this next sprint. We're also going to have to look at Stephen Hall in the final Madison chase over 30 minutes because this effort is going to bite him in the backside later on tonight. No doubt.
Kill him. He'll sleep tonight.
2 laps to go for Stephen Hall. Teo Reinhardt on the front of the peloton. And the rush is now starting to come from behind. They will come over the top of Stephen Hall. This is Kulikov, the Russian 23-year-old that comes over the top of Stephen Hall. What a big effort Hall has put in. He only picked up 5 points though. Ladislav Kulikov, maximum points for him. That'll be 10 points for the Russian.
Bradbury there in second.
So that's exactly what you were talking about. Sitting back, not doing anything, waiting for the final sprint. One big effort. That's what Kulikov has done. Picked up 10 points, and that's put himself right in the mix to be first or second, maybe second in the points race. One big effort and finished second.
Yeah, it's almost a full-on guaranteed top 3 there, for sure. Yeah, obviously, even definitely like second. I'm not sure. I think there was only the Danish lad who had 10 points already. I think he picked up 2. I think he might have won.
I think he might have. So I think this effort might have got him up into second place.
More importantly, though, Bradbury is in second there. Go on.
That was sprinted like a World Scratch Race Championship. Yeah. So important, that final sprint with the double points. So Vladislav Kulikov rides for the Gazprom team on the road. But that does look like our winner. Anders Finbo. Picked up 2 sprint wins earlier on. Got some points in that final sprint. And that should be enough for the 23-year-old to come away with the points race win. And you can see still a little bit confused. Not too sure whether he did or not. But I'm pretty sure it's Finbo that comes away with that win. So confirmation, Anders Finbo, 12 points, but only just ahead of that one sprint wonder in Vladislav Kulikov. 1 sprint, 10 points, second place ahead of Stephen Bradbury in third. So Chris Latham will be wrapped with that. Equal points with Moritz Augenstein, but he was in front of him across the line in that final sprint. So Stephen Bradbury in third place, great result. But let's have a listen for the first time this week. Anders Finbo is down with Matt Rendell.
Well, Anders Finbo, yesterday it was your partner, Arne Birkemoser, who took the points race, and today you've done it. Another young rider, 23, not quite so young, but we'll call you young, and a victory in this event against some very, very good riders.
Yes, now it's super nice to be able to pull this off today. I mean, I have to make it up for my partner from yesterday, so yeah, we try to keep this streak going a bit more, I think.
And it's a testimony to the good health of the 6 Days series that we've got young pairs like you who are up there competitive with a big future ahead.
Oh yeah, definitely. There's so many young, good upcomings, also younger than me. So guys like me need to really keep up because there's a lot of pressure coming from the younger ones.
Which is good for the sport, but well done today, Anders, and you better go to the podium. Well done.
I think I will. Thank you. Thank you.
So good ride by the Danish rider Finbo. They're down in 7th place in the overall classification on 85 points, but they're 3 laps behind. It's still Graf and Muller on the lead lap, ahead of Koneski and Reinhardt, Stopfinger, DePauw, Hester and Wolf. They are the riders 1 lap behind. Then you can see the gap that opens up to all those other teams from 5th place down that are 3 laps down in the overall classification.
First win, what do you think? Good night or what?
Yeah, very good night so far, I think. My partner won yesterday, so I felt like I need to keep up with him a bit. So it's nice to pull it off for the second day in a row, for sure.
Alright. Ja, er sagte gestern, als sein Partner
Fantastic venue here in Berlin for the Six Day, the 109th edition. As we see Anders Finbo doing the presentation for winning the 7.5 kilometer points race. Well, a great ride there from the 23-year-old from Denmark, Anders Finbo. But I'm joined by Chris Latham, who we're just watching your teammate, Stephen Bradbury, put in a big effort on the first sprint, but then he held on and get some extra points and finished third overall, so you'll have to give him a pat on the back. Yeah,
that was a good ride from him there. Picked up some more points. I think we're not too far off 100 points to get another lap, so actually that's really helped. Certainly isn't, and that's a strategic thing, is to get those extra 100 points each time to get a lap gain on the field. You've still got a big chase to come tonight, though, so it's the longest chase of the first 2 nights, 30-minute Madison chase. How nervous are you as the Madisons get longer and longer? If anything, it calms them down a bit, you know. It makes everyone's not as desperate, so if anything, I prefer it, you know. It's a bit longer, a bit slower, and it's not as high cadence, so yeah, I'm quite looking forward to it, yeah. And what about the combination with Stephen? The changes, have you done much Madison racing with him before, and what's that like to have different riders all the time? I don't mind it, it's good fun. I mean, it's quite an exact, you know, it's the same thing every time, so this was the sound. Well, I will have a keen eye on you, Chris, and Steve in the. So just doing the draw now for the second of the Journey races. Wim Strottinger hit the big red button. See who he's going to be riding behind in the Journey race. And it's going to be Ron Zylard. Do you like doing the journeys, Chris Latham? I don't know. I prefer the chases, to be fair, yeah, or the eliminations, so I quite like those. It's quite hard to tell your guy to go faster or slow down, depending on it, you know. It's just extra pain in the legs, isn't it? It is. You're not in control at all, you know. And if he does decide to go a bit faster, and you're like, whoa. Well, one of the greatest six-day riders of all time, Danny Clark, the Australian, when he stopped racing, he came back to Europe to actually be one of the Journey drivers. Right. And in the first 6 day that he did that and he didn't do it for very long because he was still so competitive that he didn't realise that he'd dropped his rider until he caught him a lap later and realised, oh, there's no one behind me. So he's just too competitive, great cyclist, but not a great journey pacer. I wouldn't mind giving it a go. I'd have a go on the bike. It'd be good fun. Well, we do have the stayers coming out tomorrow night, so the big motorbikes, which is different again. I never did that in my time. I would love to have done that. No, it looks pretty crazy when they got the little small front wheel on. So Ludek Lignoski from the Czech Republic. We'll see who he's going to be racing behind in the second of the Journey heats here tonight, the second night of competition. And it's André Durat. It's one of the only races as well, Chris, where you hope that your teammate in this particular race has let themselves go in winter and eaten way too much and gotten as big as they can be so that they give you the maximum draft. You can sit behind them on the Journey. I mean, I don't think they'll take offence, but yeah, not many are in that great shape, so they're all right, it's good. They train hard for it, some of these Journey drivers. It's a lot of beer and chips that they have to prepare through the winter. Niels Weisfenning, the next one, son of former World Madison champion Eric Weisfenning. And he'll be riding behind René Koss. For the 19-year-olds. Some pedigree in the Weisfenning family, that's for sure. So Morgan Koneski, team number 1. Wim Strottinger, Mark Hester. Perhaps the 3 big names behind Dagnoni, Ron Zylard and Peter Boyerlein. So all 3 of the big favourites
riding behind very experienced Durney pacers Dagnoni, Zylard and Boyline. Chima behind Herman Bakker, Mario Vonhoff, the former Sixday rider himself. He'll have the Irishman Mark Potts. Vidnowski behind that. René Kluger with Sebastian Schmiedel. And Niels Weisvenning in there behind René Koss. So the second of the Durney heats on the second night of competition here at the Berlin Sixday, just getting themselves all set up and ready to get underway. This is Christian Dagnoni. Chris, have you got what's the difference? Have you been behind many of the Durney drivers? Have you had different drivers that you've been following before in the past?
I think I must have done quite a few, but to be honest, I can't remember. I must have been behind them all. They're all pretty similar, pretty good.
Because there is a real art to it. As a rider yourself, obviously, there is a real art as a rider as to how to tactically ride behind a Durney, but also from the Durney drivers themselves and how to actually pace the riders and not go too hard too soon and just really judge the effort to accelerate.
Yeah, it's all kind of minimal acceleration if you do, and and even slowing down as well. It's all got to be gradual because we're obviously on the fixed wheels.
So if you had to choose one of these Durney paces, which would be the one that you would like to, and we're not going to offend anyone, we won't let anyone else know, but...
Can't remember the names. I think there's an older guy with glasses. I really like him. Yeah, I always kind of find myself at dinner with him. He's a real nice guy.
He's a nice guy, and he's actually, when he first started doing the Durney driving, I was one of the first riders that he used to always select, so I rode behind Peter Boyline a lot. And back in the day, I used to get a bit frustrated because he'd be one of those riders that was learning the game and accelerating too quickly, and I had to tell him just to ease on the pressure a little bit. And it was, when you're really tired, this is an incredibly difficult race. As he certainly has learned over the years.
It's almost like when you accelerate, you don't realise that it's a lot more effort on that on my bike than the Durney.
If you're on good form, it's a fun race. Going very fast behind the Durney is fun. If you're struggling a little bit, or if you're tired, it can be a nightmare. This is Peter Boyline, the man we were just talking about.
Yeah, that's the one, yeah. Bandana.
He's a lovely chap, isn't he? One of the problems I think I had with Peter early on was he was too fit. He was too thin. There wasn't enough sit behind him.
Yeah, that one. He is one of the leaner ones, isn't he?
So they've got themselves in formation. The riders are ready to go. Wim Strottinger, he's done this so many times in the past in the Six-Day Series. A lot of Six-Day riders. And he's impatient. 2 laps to go have been given. And you can see the body language of Wim Strottinger. He said, come on, just give them 1 lap to go. Let's get out there. We've still got a 30-minute Madison chase to come later tonight, the final event. How the gearing that changes for this, so we're talking about the gears before in the Madison races, which is the old school measuring was 95 inches. What sort of gears or what sort of combination of chainring and cog do you put on for the Durney race?
53.15 for the bunch race and 53.30 for this. I think that's 110. Again, it's like, that's quite big for a bunch race, but when you're behind a Durney, again, it's still small. You prefer, you're going like 60 odd k an hour, 70 k an hour, so you could easily get 120 on or something, get a big gear on, make it a bit easier.
So looking at Mark Hester, we had Mark up here just before, actually, doing some commentary with me during the women's Madison event. And the 40-lap Durney heat, the second of the night is underway. Mark Hester, he's also a rider that's done this so many times, a bit of a veteran of the Six-Day Series. Might have been my last season in the 6 days, was Mark's first season.
Started
a long time ago. so many riders that I'm connected to via their parents that I used to race with as well, and it certainly makes me, it's nice to have that connection, Chris, but gee, it makes me feel old.
I was going to say, showing your age there.
So Sebastian Schmiedel it is that leads the way. Just these opening laps, the bigger gear that we're talking about, it's harder to get it going. So these first sort of 10 laps, gentle increase in speed, so it's not too difficult for the riders. It certainly is possible, Chris, to go fast right from the start, but it costs so much energy as well, and there's still so many more races to come.
Yeah, it does. It's good if you are kind of man one. If you have got a bigger, well, up there all got the same gear, but if you have got a bigger gear and you can almost control it a bit, set off a bit slower, because at the end of the day, they all have to wait for everyone and, you know, all get on. So it's good if you're in man one, but
see how far behind this is Schmiedel. He's virtually half a lap ahead of the last rider on the track, so that's the sort of effort that the rider that lines up in last position has to make to get himself all the way back around to the front. Now with Schmiedel sitting over 60 kilometres per hour, you're going to be hitting closer to 70 if you're going to come from last position. So Schmiedel still out in front. It's a big gap back to Mark Hester in second position. 31 laps to go as they come around. Then it's Morgan Kneschke, three-time World Madison champion. 3 different partners for each of those championships that he won, just showing the level of consistency over 3 World Madison championships for Morgan Kneschke, teaming up with Teo Reinhardt. So 5 World Madison championships between that combination of team number 1. So much experience. Do you notice that, Chris, in the race when you see, like, this might be, it's only a couple of times they've raced together, Kneschke and Reinhardt, but they've just done so many elite Madisons together. Do you really notice that in the bunch?
yeah, definitely. You know, I've been on the receiving end of it in the world a few times. You can definitely see it's just more, yeah, it's just smoother, and you can see how much speed you get from the change, because you can really get a big benefit from the change, and also not as well. So
you try and choose, when you're in the peloton itself, you're trying to look for some of those more experienced or well-credentialed Madison teams to try and get in behind and follow, or do you really care about where you sit?
It depends, you know, kind of what, if you're in like a World Cup or something like that, you do that, you kind of mark them out a little bit, but then it's also quite good to not be near them, so that, you know, when they do swing up, you can hit it and you get a real big, you know, a big surprise on them there. You have got to pick your wheels.
Bit of a move now from the youngster, the 19-year-old Niels Weissfenning. And you can see the heart rate coming up as well, 189 beats per minute, still 26 laps to go. So it's a big effort from Niels to get himself into first position, but it might cost him towards the end. You have to hold back a little bit in the Derny race. The final 10 laps is so fast. As we saw in the last one with Kirsten Thiele, put in a big performance, but then really did decelerate in the last 4 laps of the race. So you need to hold a little bit back just for that final push. This is Lichnowsky, Team 17. Now with the points that are on offer, if Team 17 in Ludek Lichnowsky finishes in the top 2 of this race, that'll give them the 100 points and an extra bonus lap for them. And they'll be sitting in 5th place, separated from all those other teams that are 3 laps behind. That'll put them to 2 laps behind. So very important Derny race for team number 17.
Yeah, it seems to be going really well in this Berlin 6, yeah. Been on the bikes a bit, I think.
The team from the Czech Republic, Ludek Lichnowsky, goes into the first place, just getting to the halfway point now. 21 laps to go. And you can visibly see the speed really has started to come up. This is Morgan Kneschke. Cima comes around the outside. The Italian comes from the town of Brescia in Italy. Rides for the Gazprom Russian team though. And some real speed from Cima over the top of Mark Hester. Cima's gone into 3rd position. Niels Weissfenning still in 2nd. And Ludek Lichnowsky out there in the lead. Looks comfortable on the bike, Chima. Good riding style in behind the Derny, nice and close to the back wheel. The closer to the back, the better. Heart rate starting to come up, just touching 70 kilometres per hour.
That's the thing, when you make a big effort like that on these gears, you hit that, you know, max or near max heart rate, and it's to recover so hard, you know, literally still doing the same revs.
He's just backed it off slightly. He's gone into the lead, but just backed off the speed slightly down to 65 kilometres per hour now. Just thinking about those final 10 laps, the last push to the line. Keep an eye on Team 17. That's a team that really is trying to finish in the top 2, get the bonus lap by gaining 100 points on their overall tally. Move coming though, a little bit further back. There's Team 17, Ludek Lipnowski. Really has improved over the last 12 months in the Madison series. Move now from team number 7, Mark Hester. Very experienced veteran of the 6-day series. Raced behind the Derny so many times. And you can see right up to the back of the Derny bike. He's riding behind Peter Boyerlein. We've mentioned Peter already as one of the more experienced of the pacers. 12 laps to go. Mark Hester now putting himself up in contention. Over the top of Chima. Emilio Chima leads the way. Mark Hester from Denmark now over the outside. Niels Weisvenning still just sits there in 3rd place. Good ride from the 19-year-old from Germany in the green jersey. Into the final 10 laps now. This is the second of the Derny heats here on night 2 of the Berlin 6 day. And 9 laps to go. Mark Hester just brought the pace back slightly as we come towards this final push, trying to back into the peloton slightly to stack them up a little bit before perhaps accelerating. The veteran Hester, though, being pushed by Niels Weisvenning, the 19-year-old. There's a move now coming from Morgan Kineski. Emilio Chima drops back in a 4th place. French former World Madison champion now moves up into 3rd. It's a sort of rider that you'd expect to not just sit back. Morgan Kineski certainly expecting him to really come in these last couple of laps.
Yeah, it looks that way, although I would have thought there's still a Strottinger at the back there. I wonder if he's going to sat on the whole time and saved it for a bit. Oh, here we go, he's still in there.
Well, you mentioned Wim Strottinger, and right on cue. Here he comes.
Left it late.
He's been sitting back and waiting. He's riding behind Ron Zeilard, another one of the very experienced Derny pacers. And look at the heart rate of Niels Weisvenning now, up into the 190s, really starting to struggle. He still sits in 3rd place, but it's team number 3 that's now on the march. Morgan Kineski, 3-time World Madison champion. He's just going over the top of Mark Hester into 1st position. But a big move now coming from Wim Strottinger. 3 laps to go now. Kineski leads full. Weisvenning in 3rd. And Wim Strottinger, the experienced Dutchman. 67, almost 68 kilometres per hour now.
Left it real late if he's going to.
4 riders still in the mix. They'll come around to get 1 lap to go. It's Morgan Kineski that leads the way, but this final push from Wim Strottinger, it's going to be a huge effort to get there for the win. He's come right from very last position, but he's carried the speed all the way through as he comes down the back straight. He wants more from the rider. Wim Strottinger screaming at Ron Zeilard to get around the outside of Morgan Kineski. And it's Wim Strottinger with a massive performance in the second of the Derny heats here on the second night of competition. From last position, right round the outside for the win. Well, it was right on cue, Chris Latham. You said, well, I don't know why Vince Rotting is sitting so far back, and then he must have heard you. Bam, straight on the gas it was.
Yeah, he just looked like he was chilling. You know, he's looking about, waiting, then give the go ahead and he's gone. What's up for?
Ron Zalard, he loves it as well. It's a win for the Derny drivers, not just the cyclists. So maximum points. And we mentioned Team 17 needed to finish in the top 2 to gain their bonus lap. They weren't able to do that, so they're going to have to do something in this next Madison chase. Thanks to you, Chris. I know you've got to get down there for the final Madison. So, Chris Latham, awesome to have you up here for a chat.
Nice one, cheers. I mean, I would love to stay. I think I'd rather stay. It's easier. Cheers.
It certainly is. Thanks to Chris. We'll keep an eye on Chris in that final chase. Well, what a ride from last position all the way around the outside for Wim Strottinger. But he had the confidence of riding behind Ron Zilard, absolutely motored around to get the win. Morgan Kineski held on for second place, so still not losing out too many points for team number 1. Mark Hester, the third of the big 3 teams, in third place. Well, Wim Strottinger, he's done it so many times before, a veteran of the Six-Day season, and he's great behind the Derny. He's down there with Matt Rendell right now. Ron Zilard, look at the smile on his dial.
Wim, Ron, fantastic. That was spectacular. I don't think I've ever seen it left so late. With 6 laps to go, you were dead last. And Wim, you must have hit some speeds in those final 6 laps.
Yeah, it was pretty hard. And in the end, I thought, yeah, go. And Ron just kept on waiting. I was like, Ron, please go. But he was on time and he did a perfect job.
Ron, that was spectacular. Have you ever left it any later than that? 6 laps, and then what a charge.
I think Wim is the fastest on the track. And when I've got him motivated, then I know I can do it in 3 laps. But it was a perfect, unbelievable.
Next time he's going to give you 3 laps, Wim. The best of luck. Guys, perfect, sublime.
I'm not sure who was more excited, the cyclist or the Derny rider. This is how it was done. Just over 70 kilometres per hour. You think of all the races, the laps that have happened so far in the 6-day after 2 days of competition, and still able to hit 70. Average speed of 60 kilometres per hour. Heart rate, well, he's getting on a little bit in terms of age, Wim Strottinger. So maximum heart rate, not too high. 173 beats per minute. But what a fantastic final couple of laps it was for him to come from last position to come around and get the victory. Maximum points for him. So that puts them up to 151, so it keeps them nice and close in contention with Kineski and Reinhardt. But both those teams, along with Hester and Wolf, have got a little bit of work to do to get onto that lead lap, along with Andreas Graf and Andreas Muller. So the Austrians showing their experience, putting themselves right at the pointy end of the overall classification. A few bottles of champagne have gone into the cabinet of Wim Strottinger, usually, along with Yuri Harvick. But here, riding with Marino Tapau, it's certainly one of the favoured combinations to be on the final podium next Tuesday night here in Berlin. Overall classification for the sprinters, as we saw earlier, Max Levy still leads the way ahead of Thomas Barbeck, but it was Maximilian Dornbach that got the better of Levy in the sprint. So, man on the march, the German sprint champion ahead of Anton Hühne, the next generation of German sprinters, the 19-year-old Tian Singh from Taiwan. Then it's Al Albon, the 18-year-old from India, and Owen Mullen sits down there in last position, the Irish sprint champion. And they're all coming up onto the track for the final sprint event on the second night here in Berlin, and it will be the Kirin, ridden by an Italian driver, which is fitting for him to be riding a Vespa type of motorcycle we don't normally see in these Kirin events. Now, Lauren Perry has come up into the commentary to have a bit of a chat about these sprinters. I'm not sure about your expertise, Lauren, in Kirin racing, but you can help us out here and tell us. We look at the German sprint champion, Dornbach. We'll talk about the women's racing that you've been doing in just a moment. On paper, I'll throw it to you. Who do you think should win here?
Well, I think it's going to be really nice for the crowd to see the German get up today, especially seeing as though he's German champion. So we'll probably back Max in the final.
This is Owen Mullen at the bottom of the track. Max Levy has been world Kirin champion in the past. A little bit different in the Six-Day Series. There's so many races that they have to do. And sometimes, as I've seen with Max, also at the London Six-Day, make a couple of little mistakes and get beaten in some of these races. He's certainly been the fastest, consistently winning the lap time trial. He was beaten in that sprint earlier by Max Dornbach.
In that case, he might be looking for a win tonight.
I know Max Levy really does focus a lot of attention on the Saturday night here in Berlin. This is his home track. And the final event for the sprinters here on the second night at the Berlin Six-Day, it is the Kirin. All of the riders on the track, 7. At the international level these days, it's 6 riders that they have in the Kirin events, so 1 extra here for the 6. So we're on board here with Owen Mullen, the Irish sprint champion. You can see the camera there down just in the middle of the handlebars. And he'll be trying to keep all of the other riders out of the vision. Max Levy on the inside, Thomas Barbeck on the outside, both 32 years of age, veterans of international sprinting and shoulder to shoulder. At the UCI World Championship level, Olympic Games level, shoulder-to-shoulder bumping action is frowned upon. It used to be a real part of Kirin racing back in the day. And in the Six-Day Series, the guys don't mind having a bit of fun.
Yeah, good to see the guys having a bit of fun here in the
We see it with Max all the time. He really does get the crowd up and about, but he has to switch on. So a lap or two of trying to get the crowd on his side, on his home track. And then he has to really switch on and think about the racing to still to come. Stretch to the back there from Barback in the orange colours. Owen Mullen leads Esau Albin, the 18-year-old from India. 3 medals at the Under-19 World Championships last year. So Owen Mullen, you can see the speed really starting to pick up now. The motorbike comes off. 3 laps to go. Racing is underway and Owen Mullen has gone straight to the front. Look over the shoulder from Mullen. And now it's Albin, the 18-year-old Indian sprinter, the next generation of world-class sprinter. He doesn't want to go too soon, though. Barbeck over the top now as well. And then the upset winner from the first Kirin on the opening night in 2nd position. And here comes Max Levy. So the crowd will be up behind Max Levy, the Berliner. Go on back over the top of him. Anton Hühner, the 19-year-old German. So it's Germany versus Germany once more. Dornbach versus Hühner. Hühner in the red colours. He'll get there for the win. So Anton Hühner. He wants to force his way into the top-ranked sprinters in Germany. He's straight out of the under-19 ranks. And this is the way to do it. Beat the riders that are already in the national program. Anton Hühner going over the top of Max Dornbach. And we saw the youngster from India. There's how Albin popped around the outside as well to pick up 3rd. So a good little ride from Albin from India. Pocket Rocket, 18-year-old. And he just missed out on finishing second. So Anton Hühner comes away with the Kieran win ahead of Max Dornbach. There's always a strong rivalry, Lauren Perry, between the track endurance riders and the sprinters as to who works harder and who doesn't. And I like it. It's a friendly rivalry. You've found yourself your little niche within the endurance group, but I'm sure you don't mind picking on the sprinters as well.
Yeah, for sure. I think I really idolise what the sprinters do, but we always, as enduros, think that we work the hardest.
Confirmation. Hühner ahead of Dornbach, Albin, then it was Nian Singh, Thomas Barbeck, Max Levy, who went early, and as I said, he's one of the fastest on the track, but he does make a few mistakes in these Kiirans, so sixth place for him, and Owen Mullen, we're on board with him a couple of times, down there in last place. Well, the young sensation from the Under-19 World Championships in Frankfurt last year is Esau Albin. He was third, almost got second, and he's with Matt right now.
Esau Albin, it's the first time we've seen you here, and you're riding fast, you're riding very fast. That wasn't quite one for you, but you've been doing fantastically well in the sprints and setting really good times. How are you enjoying your 6 days of Berlin, Esau?
Yeah, I'm really enjoying my 6th day, and all people support me and they all like me, and I'm really thanks for this organizing for inviting me for this 6th day, and I'm very thankful for the people and love you guys who are support me, and it's a really good event.
And I think the organisers are very happy to you and grateful to you as well. You're setting great times here. You're still a junior and you're riding against these big riders like Max Levy. Are you learning from this experience?
Yeah, I got a lot of experience because I'm riding with the legend player, Max Levy. He's an Olympic medalist, and it's a good pleasure for me. I'm riding with the good riders.
Well, you're a credit to your country, the first big Indian sprinter, and you're a credit to yourself and your family. Well done, Esau, for your great performance so far, and I look forward to speaking to you much more this week.
Thank you so much.
Great to see a fresh face on the scene. And short in stature, but he certainly does look like a sprinter. Powerful legs. And the opposite in terms of stature is Anton Hühner. Also only 19, only 1 year older, but Germany has such a strong tradition in the sprinters. Team Sprint have been very strong as well over the years, so it's no surprise to see another German sprinter come through. Definitely a surprise and a pleasant one to see an Indian sprinter on the world stage. As we look at the overall classification, Max Levy, he leads the way on 91, but the gap is starting to close up a little bit. Big move has come from Dornbach. He's going up into second place from third, gone over the top of Thomas Barbeck. And then it's Hühner, Nian Singh. Then there's Albin, the next gen kid on 46 points, and Owen Mullen sits there still down on 28 points in 7th place. So Levy, Dornbach and Barbeck, they're the riders at the moment that look like they'll be fighting for the overall classification in the sprint competition. You see the riders that are coming onto the track now. That's the elite men for the final race of the night, which is the 30-minute Madison Chase. So the longest of the Madisons that we've seen so far. This will be the 4th Madison for the elite men. And we heard from 3rd place, the youngster from India in the Kieran, but Matt Rendell's now down with our winner, another teenager, and it's Anton Hühner.
Anton Hühner, Tony Hühner, just talk us through that Kieran win.
Yeah, it's amazing. I have the best 2 guys from today at the time trial, and I think follow them and then go straight to the finish line and I win. perfect. Perfect.
The perfect strategy, simple, straightforward, and in the slipstream, at the speeds you guys do, the slipstream effect, it must be like a catapult.
Yeah, normally we do 70 kilometers per hour. That's so fucking fast. That's so fucking fast.
You're not allowed to say that on television. Let's just say it's so fast. Apologise, everyone.
Sorry.
And listen, and the noise in this velodrome was fantastic, and that must have been a big help as well, having all this German crowd screaming for you.
Yes, it's really, really amazing to be here. Berlin, the crowd is so loud, and it's perfect. Perfect driving in Berlin every day.
Wonderful. Listen, you'll be in tomorrow at midday for your English lesson. Anton, thank you so much. Well done.
Thank you. Thank you.
Well, judging by that description, it was extremely fast. I think we'll put it down to that. So not too far now until we get underway. I am joined in commentary by Lauren Perry, who's been racing in the elite women's race, the Tasmanian over here in Berlin. This is where they sit in the overall classification, coming into the final event of the second night here in Berlin. Graf and Muller on the lead lap, but look out for Koneski, Reinhardt, Rottinger, De Pauw, Hester and Wolf. They are the teams that will be trying to get up onto that lead lap as well. We look further down the rankings. In 11th place is Richard Banusch and Sebastian Schmiedel. They're the best of the rest, and you can see the amount of laps that some of those teams have started to lose. And we're only into the second night, still 4 big nights still to come. 30 minutes though, this is the longest Madison that we've seen so far. It's the 4th Madison that we've had. The others have all been 20 minutes. This one, to finish off night 2, is over 30 minutes though. And this is Brian Bussier from Belgium, the first rider to go on the attack, and it's been immediately covered by 2, possibly 3 teams. And look at the gaps already opening up, Lauren.
Yeah.
Knowing that you've just come off the track yourself from racing the elite women's, what does it look like when you first look? And here's Oliver Wolf already, one of the big teams going on the attack. Does it just look fun, or does it look like pain?
It looks like a lot of pain. I think to see gaps open up so early and know what you're in for especially half an hour, it's definitely a mental battle.
So we're about 3 laps in, and already 2 of the big teams, well, make that 3 of the big teams, going straight on the attack. So it was team number 7 that started the move, then team 3 that covered it, and that's put a bit of pressure onto team number 1 to make sure they're there as well. So this is almost like the final on the 6th night. When the big teams go, the other big teams go straight after them. There has been a real sorting out of the overall classification, and we can see teams 3, 7 and 1 right in the mix right from the very start.
Yeah, you can tell it's already split apart early.
Is it good though for you, Lauren, to be able to watch this sort of style of racing? Because we have mentioned already a couple of times tonight how international level Madison racing for women has only been around now for a couple of years. It's been around as a competition for a long time, but at World Championships it's only been a couple of years. It's in the Olympics for the first time. So absorbing information and learning as much as you can of this is so important. Yeah,
for sure. For me especially, it's really good to come to these events and see the best riders in the world and how they do it. And being, so new in women's cycling, there's so much that we can learn from watching the men.
Well, there's a little bit of a settling down after those first attacks, and then immediately team number 1 has gone straight over the top. It's a reminder that it's the Austrians, team 15. That's them right there on cue. They're leading, the only team on the lead lap, and they've gone straight onto the back wheel of Wim Strottinger, team number 3. So 3 of the big teams, it's now team 7, sits in 4th place. So they are back in the peloton, so they're in danger of going a further lap behind if this 3-team combination can get around and take a lap on the field. Fast start to the final Madison chase here on the second night of the Berlin 6-day. The gap has already opened up 177 metres, and it does look like the pace has come off a little bit on the front of the peloton. This is to the advantage of the breakaway now, Lauren.
Yeah, I think there'll be a few people in the main field happy to feel their pace drop a little bit, but also it plays into the hands of the three who are already away. Hopefully they can close it up and take that lap.
Well, with three of the big favourite teams out in front, that put all the pressure onto Team 7. I mentioned that they were the ones that were going to be disadvantaged the most, and they've immediately gone on the attack. And it's about a half a lap now, so these teams out in front certainly looking likely to be the first to gain a lap. And Team 7 making sure that they are the next to do so. Andreas Muller in his 20th consecutive start here in Berlin. Swings up the track, goes through. It's Theo Reinhardt, Marino De Pauw, and Vince Trottinger, team number 3. So Chris Latham in second position behind Mark Hester. Dennis Rugovac from the Czech Republic, team 17. So a good, strong combination. We had Chris Latham up here as well, having a chat to us through some of the earlier races also. And the last thing he said was that he would have happily stayed up here and commentated the Madison rather than go down and actually ride in it, but he's having a real go putting himself in the race.
Yeah, yeah, I don't blame him. It's a lot more comfortable up here.
Might order another coffee, perhaps a chocolate, perhaps, while we sit back and just enjoy the racing that's happening. It's been fast and furious, and the teams that are leading the overall classification are about to get to the back of the peloton and take the first lap in this final chase.
They'll be glad to get there. As you know, Scott, the quicker you can take the lap, the better it is.
Best to be on the front foot. And that's why team number 7, the Danes, were forced to go on the attack because they saw that the riders that they were really up against, teams 1, 3 and 15, were a half a lap up. They've now gone and gained a lap, put themselves on the lead lap, and the desperation move there from team 7 to make sure that they weren't going to fall down in terms of the overall classification. So a change from Chris Latham to Stephen Bradbury, team number 2. Working well together, these three. They've only got about a quarter of a lap to go before they get to the back of the peloton, so it looks likely that team number 7, as we focus on their stats on the right-hand side there, Oliver Wolf is in the race, sitting on 63 kilometres per hour. That's the kind of speed that it takes to get around to the back of the peloton. There's some pressure on the front, though. That's the last couple of metres to get onto the lead lap. This isn't going to be so easy. Oliver Wolf has been so impressive. 19, young Dane. He's already been on the podium at Sixday Events.
It's good to see the young ones come out and put on a show.
Such as yourself, Lauren. Good to see you come through. The next riders from Australia. Chris Latham it is. You can see just pushing back in the saddle, really fighting hard to make sure he gets to the back of the fields. So 3 more teams now going up onto the lead lap. And strategically and most importantly, it was team number 7, part of that top 4 team combination, keeping themselves in that hunt for a final podium. Still over 22 minutes left to race. 6 teams now on the lead lap, and the top 4, 1, 3, 15 and 7, have got themselves up there along with teams number 2 and 17. Czech Republic and the British combination, team number 2.
Looks like the Irish have started to make a move, taking the next lap.
Well, with the big teams, we talk about the big teams or the small teams. It's sort of a traditional thing in the 6 days. The big teams are those teams that we see as the favourites. And Theo Reinhardt has had a mechanical problem, shake of the head. He's looking for his mechanic, perhaps. So some sort of problem for Theo Reinhardt. He's just down here at the start-finish line, but there's Matt Brendel just on the inside. So our man Matt perhaps able to help Theo out. I'm not sure how good Matt is on the spanners.
diese Parasport-Weltmeisterschaft. Theo Reinhardt wird versucht mit Roger Kluge zum 13. Mal in Folge.
So the body language with Theo looked okay. Physically, it didn't look as if there was an issue. I think maybe more looking exactly low, looking for his mechanic, so perhaps the mechanic wasn't concentrating too much. So a little bit of a tumble I'm hearing from Theo Reinhardt. You can see, yeah, there you go. He has come down. Problem with the front wheel. And there's a real scramble now from his mechanic to try and get him back into the race. So a bit of extra pressure on Morgan Koneski to stay in there and make sure that they don't lose a lap. Should be able to do that comfortably, you would think. And back in again. So a little bit of a tumble for the World Madison champion. Unusual to see that. Now, we didn't pick that up, so I'm not sure where or how that happens. The crowd, though, have got behind Theo. World champion in the Madison the last 2 years. It's unusual to see riders of that kind of level of experience having a tumble, so unsure as to what the problem was. Didn't seem to be too deterred by it. Just a bit frustrated with the mechanic taking so long to change a wheel.
There was quite a big delay there.
The nature of the 6 days, you get into the infield, there's so much going on with the restaurants, the music, a lot of beer being consumed. Maybe the mechanic was off having a bevy.
Maybe, can you blame him? Yeah, it's a very hectic environment down there, full of people and very loud.
Well, there's Theo's teammate on the front of the peloton. There has been a significant move off the front, though. 5 teams really scrambling now, being led by Henning Bommel. Matt Bostock is in. Look, 183 beats 184 now for Matt Bostock in second position of that breakaway group. Desperate move from Team 10 to try and come across to the 4 out in front. Andy Tennant from GB, he leads the breakaway group. This is Rudik from Poland, about to make the change to Slavek. So off that change, you would think that Damian Slavek from Poland should be able to close. We'll keep an eye on Theo Reinhardt as well, just to check the body language to make sure he is okay. Team 10 really struggling here to try and close that gap down, though. Yeah. There's Theo. So it just looks like a little bit on the elbow, the skin off on the elbow. Not much, doesn't seem to be much more damage than that. Hopefully he didn't dirty that lovely rainbow jersey.
No, let's hope not.
Probably the thing he was upset about the most is crashing on his rainbow jersey. Polish team number 10 really struggling to close the gap down to the breakaway group. Looks as if they're just about to get there now.
Finally on.
That was a big chase. Just showed you how fast that group was going. 18 minutes remaining. 5 teams out in front. Kirsten Thiele was the rider that just swung up, gone to the back of the group there, the red number 4.
It's good to see the teams all coming together to change at the same time to make the most of that break.
Good point, Lauren, because that is one of the things that really can upset a breakaway group, and the rhythm and the, I guess, the equal sharing of pace setting is when they don't change at the right time, or if they come in the wrong order. That's also a really big issue. You've got to really try and make sure you make the effort to come in the right order when you do the changes. It makes it so much more efficient for a breakaway group to work well together.
Yeah, and it's worked well for them. They're back on.
So those 5 teams have been able to get themselves back up on the lead lap. So team 24 and team 32 now, the next to go on the attack. This is Richard Banush leading Niels Weisfenning. Weisfenning changes to Moritz Augenstein. So still 5 teams that are 1 lap behind, so you'll be seeing some desperation from teams 11, 12, 24, 31 and 32. 2 of those now combining to try and get themselves up onto that lead lap and keep themselves in contention. Sebastian Schmiedel it is now. Richard Banush, 21-year-old, changes to the 22-year-old Schmiedel. Gets himself up to the back wheel of Niels Weisfenning. Weisfenning swings up. Look over the track from the rest of the peloton. Not too fussed about these 2 teams. They are a fair way down in the overall classification. So they have been allowed a little bit of leeway to get back onto that lead lap. They are still several laps behind in the overall classification and considerably behind in points as well.
Looks like the main field's put a little bit of pressure on again. They look like they're going down the back straight quite fast.
They're going to make them earn it. It looks like they should be able to get a lap, but they're going to have to put in a big effort at the end here to earn it. Won't be just given to them for free, and they have split up a little bit from the last change, so not working very well together. But Team 24 just showing perhaps just that little bit stronger. Banush and Schmiedel. And Banush gets there, followed soon after, almost, not quite, just about. There it is now, Moritz Augenstein.
Mit seinem Partner Sebastian Schmiedel, dann haben wir Moritz Augenstein und Niels Weisfenning.
So Niels Weisfenning with Moritz Augenstein. Young combination. Augenstein's 22, it's only 19 for Niels Weisfenning. Now, I'm not sure if you know the name Weisfenning, Lauren Perry, but Niels' father was Madison World Champion, also winner of the Bendigo Madison back in the day. Wow. He was a regular to Australia.
Bit of family heritage. Speaking of regulars to Australia, Moritz has been down in Melbourne and Tasmania, I think, the last 2 seasons.
Getting some Australian sun, Moritz Augenstein. The temperature outside here in Berlin today was, I think, what they talk about feels like temperature was -7. It was just under 0, but felt like -7. So certainly much warmer conditions down in Melbourne and Tasmania at this time of year.
Sure. It's been a rude shock to the system to come here into the cold.
Lovely inside the venue, though.
Oh, yeah.
Fantastic
definitely.
temperature in here. Marino De Pauw comes in. And off the hand change as well. You can see just the body language there. Straight up and about for Marino De Pauw, and he's dragged 2 teams, possibly 3, immediately with him. Chris Latham, he read the body language best. 5 teams now. The next attack being led by Chris Latham. Bit of a scramble behind this group from the world champion Theo Reinhardt. So I think Theo has just answered the question if he's okay after that crash or not. He's gone straight out after this lead group, so I think Theo Reinhardt feeling no real effects from that tumble.
He's back on the wheel, looking pretty comfortable.
He does look pretty smooth, doesn't he? Yeah. Theo Reinhardt, world champ. Wheel there of Mark Hester. Hester changes over to Oliver Wolf. This will put a bit of pressure back onto the Austrians, the overall classification leaders, team 15. Looking in the peloton, see where they sit. There you go. There's a look across the track there from Andreas Graf. Last position at the peloton. So when this attack went, team number 15 was sitting right at the back of the peloton, too far back to react. So they realised they might have to let this one go, and as they get around close, Chris Latham it is. Heart rate 180 beats per minute, 60 kilometres per hour on the wheel of Marino De Pauw. Vince Trottinger comes in, and you can see how Chris Latham there, good way to demonstrate the way they do the changes there is Vince Trottinger came in. You always have to make sure you go to the right or the outside of the wheel as the rider that's being changed out of the race decelerates so much. You have to be up over the top to make sure that there's no accidents that happen. Strong group of 5, almost to the back of the field, another lap to be gained. This will be the second lap taken by most, if not all of these teams. It'll put the pressure back on the team 15. The Austrians will have to make a move very soon to keep themselves in contention. 11 minutes left to race. Lauren Perry, what's the experience been like in terms of the hand changes and the slings and just getting your eye in and understanding the safety of Madison racing and the do's, the things to do right, the things to do wrong that could cause a crash? It's a pretty steep learning curve at times.
Yeah, it is for sure. For me, I find it quite challenging coming from Tassie where we don't have a lot of people to practice with. So coming to events like this, I find myself thrown into the deep end. But in terms of slings, I think that's something I'm fairly comfortable with. But for people coming into Madison's and who haven't done a lot of it, it's really intimidating coming into a massive bunch of people at speed, and especially throwing a few sprints in there.
If you're doing it well, if you're experienced, and if you're in a race with a lot of experienced riders, for me, it was always just so much fun.
Yeah, it is, and you can have a lot of trust in everyone when you know that they've been doing it for so long. You know that they're not going to do anything wrong and scare you.
Niels Weisvenning swings up from the front of the peloton. We're now into the sprint lap, so we've made the transition from time, racing on time and minutes left to race. And then we've gone into laps to go now because the intermediate sprints are not too far away. Big move now from Richard Banusch. Another young rider. So many young talent riders coming through. So Banusch, 184 beats per minute. Big attempt to go for that sprint, but they've been shut down. Kirsten Thiele it was, team number 4. And Josh Harrison now, team 12, is Aussies.
It's good to see the Aussies out. They've been sitting in most of the race and keeping quiet.
And look at the team that's gone with them. So as Harrison changes to Stephen Hall, it's Andreas Muller, team 15, that has gone with them. That was the team that was going to lose out the most from the position where they were sitting. Sprint coming up in 2 laps' time, but it's team 15 were the overall classification leaders coming into this final Madison chase on the second night. And they are desperately trying to get themselves back onto that lead lap now.
He's certainly not messing around.
Absolutely fine. This is Andreas Graf, and you can just see the speed that he's able to generate. So much so, it's a bit of a challenge for Stephen Hall just to stay out there with him. That's the first sprint. So 5 points gained from Andreas Graf and Andreas Muller. 3 points will go to the Aussie combination of Harrison and Hall. But most importantly, they've got themselves out to about half a lap on the field. And look at the urgency there. Massive change. The 2 Andreases. They were on the front foot to start with, coming in being the only team on the lead lap. Found themselves on the back foot, and they really have had to pull something out special. 28 laps remain, 2 teams off the front. The Aussies and the Austrians combining well thus far, and they are a half a lap ahead of the peloton. This is the young Danish combination. Arnie Birkenhauser and Anders Finbo. They tried to go with that move, but just the speed from Graf in particular, it was such that the Danish guys weren't able to get across. So they're now stuck in no man's land. Graf can see the back of the peloton now. They missed the move earlier on, and that put them 1 lap behind. Trying to get themselves back up onto the lead lap, and that'll keep them in the overall classification lead. Team number 15 has been a desperate move, but gee, wow, they've been able to finish it off. Graf changes to Muller. It's Harrison that sits just behind them. And look at that, off the chains, the acceleration. Harrison really struggling to go with the veteran Andreas Muller. 23 laps to go. And it's Muller that's going to get to the back of the field. That puts him back in contention, you can see. Very happy with that is Muller. He caught himself the grandpa. He's in his 20th consecutive start here in the Berlin 6-day. He's not quite that old to be called a grandpa, but certainly experienced. Stephen Hall took an extra lap for them to get around. But now team number 12. Now these are the leaders on the track as it stands. And they are really trying to fight to try and stay away from the peloton now. They missed that move, just couldn't quite get across. So Sebastian Anders Finbo it is.
We'll see another move.
So while Team 23 are trying to hold off the peloton, I don't think it's going to be for much longer because there's been an incredible acceleration that's come from team number 3. Marino de Paul absolutely motoring on the front of the group. You can see in the background there, the gaps are starting to open up. 18 laps to go. I think we can see the young Danes conceding defeat. Swing up the track. They'll be desperate to try and get themselves back in now. The gap's really starting to open up. There's still enough time. There's enough laps left for these teams to try and get themselves another lap. This will be the 3rd lap taken if they can do so. It's a really strong combination as well. 4 of the biggest teams in the race. So after all the effort of the Austrian combination to put themselves back onto the lead lap, they now find themselves towards the back of what is a very messy and disintegrating peloton.
Yeah, you can see it blowing to pieces.
So we can see now a bit of urgency has just come out at the front. It was a big move from Marino de Paul who started that attack. It's all come back together. And it'll be a sigh of relief from Team 15, Graf and Muller. So at the start of the race, this is the overall classifications. There will be a reshuffle, no doubt, depending on the final standings of this particular 30-minute Madison chase. But at least Graf and Muller, by putting themselves back onto the lead lap in this Madison chase, that should keep them in the lead of the overall classification. Muller just in second position, about to come through as we see the Irish team about to do their change on the front. So a real moment of desperation there from Team 15. They missed that first move, had to really pull something out of the bag. And it was possible they were going to lose another lap in the end. So 6 teams on the lead lap. It's the Austrians, Team 15, with 5 points from winning the first of the intermediate sprints. And they had one go just before. Team 3 now on the march. It was Marino de Paul that attacked the last time. This time it's Wim Strottinger. And it's 3 of the big teams that have come together. 9 laps to go. Team 15, the Austrians, caught behind yet again as we see Morgan Kneski absolutely motoring down the back straight. Andreas Graf, he's really struggling to get onto the back wheel. Mouth wide open, trying to suck in the oxygen. The top 4 teams in the overall classification. Marino de Paul leads Oliver Wolf. Koneski and Reinhardt do their change in third position. And the two Andreases, Team 15, sitting in fourth. That was a real move from Team 3 in particular to try and crack the Austrian combination. But I tell you what, the veterans, the two Andreases, they had to dig deep then, but they've kept themselves in the mix.
Sure, it's good to see them all come together organised now.
Für Andreas Müller mit seinen 40 Jahren, und da kann man wirklich nur die Mütze ziehen oder den Hut.
5 laps to go to the final sprint. The Austrians with the advantage. They have 5 points from the first of the intermediate sprints. It's all going to come down to this final sprint now. Morgan Koneski leads. Andreas Graf in second position. Stolitzinger and Marino Depot do their changeover. Graf it is, keeping the pressure on. They're just about to come to the back of the peloton. There's another lap about to be taken by the top 4 teams. And they'll be doing it just as they get towards the final sprint. It's going to get messy if they take their lap before they get there. Double points for this final sprint. Andreas Müller just at the back of this group. And that is a lap taken by the top 4 teams. The sprint will come now from anyone in the peloton, but it's Team 7 that's gone straight over the top. Big move from Oliver Wolf. He's changed to Mark Hester. Andy Tennant leads them through. Final lap now as they come down. Double points on offer. Andy Tennant might pick up the double points, but it's team number 7 that might be able to come away with the Madison win. They've picked up third place. So third place across the line for team number 7. That's 4 points. So it should be Team 15 have picked up the 5 points from the earlier intermediate sprint that will get the win. So the team that were on the back foot for the second half of that race eventually come away with a win. So great ride by Team 15.
They'll be stoked for that. With that, their hard work's definitely paid off.
Really had to pay attention towards the end there. Messy as they gained a lap on the field right in those last couple of laps. It was Andy Tennant that would have come across the line first to pick up the 10 points on offer, double points on that final sprint. Third place for Mark Hester. That's only 4 points. The two Andreases, team number 15, no points in the final sprint, but the 5 points from the first intermediate sprint. So that was enough for Team 15 to get the win. Wow, that was a real scramble. Still 4 nights of racing to come. And I'll tell you what, if it's like that for the next 4 nights, it will be carnage on the boards.
For sure. They're definitely putting on a show though, so the crowd are getting their money's worth.
Confirmation, not a lot of points on offer, but Graf and Müller picking up that first intermediate was just enough to get the win over Hester and Wolf. Stolitzinger and Depot, Koneski and Reinhardt. 2 teams, 1 lap back, so good ride by Bradbury and Chris Latham, also Riddick and Slavek. And then 2 laps back for most of the others, except for those bottom 2 teams, Team 31 and Team 11, 3 laps behind, so very tough night for them. After 30 minutes of racing, really did suffer towards the end. So the highest heart rate out there was the youngster, 19-year-old Nils Weiss-Fenning, 199 beats per minute maximum speed. That was a good one from Rudeback, 70.1 kilometres per hour. So some pretty big numbers there. And the youngster Weiss-Fenning with the highest heart rate of all. Only 19 and almost 200. Pretty incredible. Let's go down with Matt Rendell in the middle, though, with our winners, our Austrian combination.
Andreas Müller, Andreas Graf, you started this entire session with victory in the Madison. You ended it with victory in the second Madison. That makes it pretty much the perfect evening, Andreas.
Yeah, it couldn't be better, actually. So 2 chases and an evening winning, that's just great.
And we're looking at teams 1, 3, 7, the usual suspects. But there you are, the oldest men here, and in great shape and leading the competition as well.
Yeah, as Andreas told, we had big experience, good legs, and in the end, he told me go full gas with the group, and I can close the gap, and that was the reason why we make the lap.
So you're kind of the brains behind this this duo, and Andreas, well, is much more than muscle, but it's a good pairing you've got there. And even in these conditions, against this great field of riders, day two, it's a 6-day event. What does it tell you about the 4 days to come, Andreas?
Yeah, like you said, but by the way, I prefer much term experienced rider, not oldest rider. So yeah, hopefully this experience will bring us through the next days.
Wonderful. Well, listen, both of you, outstanding evening, and you need a few more of these and you're going to win another 6 days of Berlin. Andreas, well done.
Thanks.
The most experienced rider, Andreas Müller, and just happens to be the oldest as well. But he's a great guy, he loves his racing, and he's keeping himself in the hunt for that final podium after 6 nights of racing. That was a real scramble. Great to see on the second night. The longest chase so far, 30 minutes, but it was a real scramble, a real fight between the top 4 teams. And the Austrians keep themselves right up there on the lead lap, all on their very own. Konietzki and Reinhardt in second place, 177 points. So they're getting closer to getting to that 200-point amount, and that's another lap that they'll be given once they get another 100 points. Not too far behind, though, for Strottinger and De Pauw as well. Matt Bostock and Andy Tennant, 5 laps back, and we can see those laps really starting to add up now as we go right down towards the bottom. 2 teams in 11 and 14, 6 laps down, and Brian Bussier and Moritz Malczarek, 9 laps down on 49 points. 2 laps in, and already 9 laps behind. It just shows how fast these riders have been travelling. Thoroughly enjoyable Madison chase, that one. Over 30 minutes. It was an incredible scramble between those big teams, a real fight. Moments of desperation from Team 15. They're on the front foot coming into the Madison chase, being the overall leaders on the lead lap. And then they were very much on the back foot with their main competitors putting them 1 lap down. And a real scramble to get themselves back in contention. And from the back front, being on the back foot to finishing up with a win. Great to see the crowd still hanging around. That's the end of the actual competition. But it's a Friday night here in Berlin, so everybody happy to hang around and continue the celebrations. There's a real party atmosphere.
Ich muss ganz ehrlich sagen, ihr steht hier so neben mir, ihr seht noch relativ entspannt aus, aber das sind keine 30 Minuten, wie die Willen hier ums Oval gefreut seid. Ich drücke euch alle Daumen, dass das weiterhin so gut läuft. Und wenn ihr das auch macht...
Doesn't appear to be too many people in a hurry to get out of here and get home. Certainly enjoying the atmosphere. And great to see the two Andreas, and in particular Andreas Müller, because he is from Berlin originally. So born in Berlin, rides for Austria. I think we're all going to be exhausted if they race like that for the next 4 nights. Well, it was a big day of competition, and these are the riders that took out the wins. It was top and tailed from Graf and Müller. They won the opening Madison chase and the final one as well. So perhaps not the fastest team on the track, but their experience and their courage really coming through. First journey was taken by Josh Harrison. Team elimination, it was a good fight as well. Konietzki and Reinhardt winning that one. Point race, we saw the young Danish rider Anders Finbo winning that one, and Wim Strottinger, incredible fight back from last position to come through to win the second of the Durney races. And it was all wrapped up, of course, by Graf and Müller winning the 30-minute Madison chase. So top and tailed, as I say. Pretty strong performance from the Austrians to win both of the Madisons here on the second night.
Schnell Rad gefahren, jetzt gibt es ein schönes Trikot dafür. Ich gehe mal aus dem Bild, jetzt sieht das Trikot an. Viel Spaß und jetzt haben wir auch noch jemanden da.
Dieter Stein once more, race director, coming in to congratulate Graf and Müller. Andreas Müller spends a lot of time in Australia. Over the last 20-odd years, he's been going down to Australia to race. And we did see, of course, the World Madison champion having a bit of a tumble. You can see just that right elbow. So a little bit of skin off there. Didn't seem to be too much of an issue. And Matt Rendell did catch up with Morgan Kineski to find a little bit more.
Morgan Kineski, you put in a long shift during that Madison because your partner Theo went down, had a little crash. He's okay. He's just getting some treatment now for broken skin on the forearm. But you saw the crash.
Yeah, I saw the crash. I have always an eyes on Theo, and I see the crash. Just he lost the, I would say, the adherence on the track. So it's a stupid crash.
Okay, just he lost grip on the track.
He lost grip on the track. So when I see him, I just take my place in the bunch and try to keep a good position, don't lose lap, because I don't know very well the rules. So, and I waiting him, and when I saw him back on the track without just some yes, I say okay, he's okay, and we can continue the race.
And did the peloton just hold up a little bit? They see that the world champion's been down. Was there a little relaxation in the pace?
Yes, yeah, there's always a good respect between riders. Especially with Theo, he had the world champion jersey when a good rider, or not a good rider, when a rider had a crash, so everybody waiting for him, and that's a respect between us. That's good.
Well, I tell you what, it says something for your legs that even after your partner's been in a crash, the two of you were right up there in that Madison and still well positioned, just second place in GC, but you're clearly in good physical shape.
Yes, we are still in a good shape. And with a crash, we can lose a lot, so we are still on the game, and that's the most important for us.
Now listen, you're wearing those world champion rainbow stripes down your chest there, but there's no doubt about the men of the day, and that's Team 15, the two Andreases. They won the first chase of the day, they won the last one too. They're the surprise package of the day, I think.
Yeah, they're always a surprise, and it's a big try. It's the sport is a sport, they're always a surprise, and it's a good rider. He has a long career, so we must I say keep an eye on him now, because he's back on the game, but we will do the job to make a big fight with him.
Morgan, you've had a wonderful day as well. Well done, and we look forward to seeing you in action again tomorrow night.
Okay, see you tomorrow. Thank you.
Morgan Kineski didn't sound too concerned about Theo Reinhardt's tumble. And they really are in great contention. So the big events we saw from the elite women, the team elimination and the 20-kilometre Madison, both races taken out by the overall standings leaders in Eleanor Barker and Katie Archibald. And considering the World Madison champions in Kirsten Wild and Amy Peters are here, well, that's no mean feat to beat them both times. So great combination. 142 points, so a handy little point buffer that they now have over Kirsten Wild and Amy Peters. Only one more night of competition for the elite women, of course. So that's a nice little lead for them to have. Emily Nelson and Manon Lloyd sitting in third place on 102 points. And Daria and Victoria Pikalik, they were strong tonight. So they are perhaps looking to try and chase down that podium position, third place overall. Lisa Klein and Katharina Heckler in fifth place, the two Germans. Boylan and Coles Lister, they've combined very well. The Irish and Canadian riders, Barbieri and Selva, equal points with Dijksman and Mylene de Zotter. We had Lauren Perry up here for a conversation during that final Madison as well, so great to have a chat with her. And hopefully team number 7 will be okay. We saw the tumble from them in the 20-kilometre Madison, so just hoping, fingers crossed, for both Lauga Quada and Svan Holmer that they will be okay. Leonhardt and Hoffman struggling a little bit right down the very end. So a look back to the vision-impaired kilometre time trial. This was a German record attempt from Kai Kruse and Robert Forstermann. Robert Forstermann, the pilot, Kai Kruse, the visually impaired cyclist. They are really focusing on the Paralympic Games later this year. And you can just hear the crowd really behind them, hoping that they were able to go for the German record. They're hoping they'll be going for gold medals later on this year in August at the Olympic Games in Tokyo. And great to see Robert Forstermann, a former world champion for Germany, an Olympic Games medalist, making the transition across to parasports to help Kai Kruse. And they were well on target as they came through with 1 lap to go. The experience and the power of Robert Forstermann combining so well with Kai Kruse. They came through to claim the German champion. 1 minute and 1 second. Incredibly fast time for a tandem. You think of the extra power that's needed to get a tandem off the start. From a standing start, it's so difficult compared to a single rider. And they're able to do that in incredible fashion to ride 101. You can see the effort that was required from Robert Forstermann, really huffing and puffing. So great ride from them. Coming into the third night of competition now, we will kick things off with the women, with the scratch race over 10 kilometres, a 30-minute Madison for the men. So we saw the longest race of the competition tonight. That's how we kick things off tomorrow. Sprinters again with their usual flying lap time trial, another Journey sprint finals, men's team elimination, we love that, and another Madison for the women, so another time for perhaps the world champions to try and turn the tables on Eleanor Barker and Katie Archibald. Point races and Journeys, as we've seen each night. The sprinters have their Kirin final. And we've seen some interesting results in the Kirins, the first two that we've had. And then the final race for the third night of comp to get us to the halfway point of the Berlin 6-day 25-minute Madison for the elite men.
Well, what a fabulous evening sport we've had. 5-6 hours of world-class track action. We'll go back to Scott in a minute. He's got some guests in the studio. For the time being, I'm with team number 3, Wim Sturtinger and Moreno de Pauw. And got to say, Wim, one of my highlights of the evening was your journey win. Absolutely astonishing. Sublime. 6 laps, and you went from dead last to dead first, and you must have hit some speed there.
Yeah, it was really good. I think the crowd also loves it, but my legs didn't.
And Moreno, you've been saying time after time, when it comes to sheer speed, Wim's the man, and he demonstrated that today. How are you enjoying riding with him?
Yeah, I know he's one of the fastest because we raced a lot against each other, and he beat me a lot in the sprint as well, so I know he's one of the fastest. I'm enjoying riding with him. I know Wim very well. I think we can say we are good friends. And doing my last race with Wim is an honor, and I'm really enjoying it.
Wim, you've enjoyed, well, both of you have enjoyed great success in the six-day scene down the years. But it is a special moment, I guess, to be the partner of Moreno de Pauw in what is the final 6-day of his career. What does it mean to you? It's going to be something you're going to be able to look back on and say, well, apart from anything else, I did this too.
Yeah. I really love to race with Moreno here. Especially it's his last race. It makes it a little bit more special for me also, so that I can do the last race with Moreno de Pauw is pretty cool.
Marina, lots of Belgian riders here, and you've been watching them and enjoying them, and those are the riders who are going to be moving into the big shoes that you're going to be leaving empty. Who are you seeing? Who's good and who's coming through at this 6 days?
It's difficult to say who's coming. We have a lot of good Belgian track riders. I'm not going to say any names. If I forgot someone, I'm going to hear it later. So I think we have a good Belgium squad on the track. A lot of good young riders. So I think the track in Belgium is good for some years.
And I tell you what, from the Dutch angle, in the women's racing, of course you've got the World Madison champions in Amy and Kirsten, but they're having a tough time here at the 6 day with Katie Archbold and Elena Barker really pushing them hard.
Yeah, they are, but I think Kirsten and Amy are having the goal on the World Championships, and so just let the English do, and they will be there on the Worlds.
Well, listen, we're really enjoying your performance. The very best of luck for this. It would be, I mean, whoever wins, it's a special event. But I tell you what, if you can pull it off in Moreno's last 6 days, that'll be something for all of us to look forward to. And remember, and so we're going to step away for a moment. We'll be joining Scott McGrory in just a second. But first, we're going to go to our race of the day. And it's the first Journey race, Journey Heat 1, earlier in the evening.
Forget about the rest for now. These are the 3 riders that we're going to focus on. Only 3 riders that have taken a lap over the rest. And they're racing first, second and third. 5 laps to go now. Carsten Thiele leads Andreas Graf, and it's Josh Harrison in third. Thiele just looks as if he's starting to suffer a little bit from the effort that he's had to put in to try and get up on to the back wheel of the 2 riders in front of him. Josh Harrison has gone over the top of Graf. And they come around for 3 laps to go now. To be Carsten Thiele that leads them through. Josh Harrison looking over both shoulders to find out where Andreas Graf is. He's waiting for a run to come from the Austrian. And here it comes now. Thiele, I think he spent all of his energy gaining a lap. Out of contention now for Carsten Thiele at 2 laps to go. Andreas Graf trying to get up to the back wheel of Josh Harrison. He's up there in the overall classification, Graf. And 1 lap to go now. Harrison on the inside from Australia. The Austrian, Andreas Graf on the outside. And you can see the effort that's being put in from the Austrian veteran. Really struggling to stay onto the back wheel there of Peter Boyerlein. Is he going to get over the top? He doesn't get there. It's Josh Harrison that holds on the inside. So the Aussie beats the Austrian. Well, at the end of the second night of competition here, it is still the 2 Andreases on top, Andreas Graf and Andreas Muller on the lead lap. It was a mad scramble in the final Madison chase, but they did just enough to keep themselves in the hunt for that final overall podium. Morgan Konietzki and Theo Reinhardt, they are the best of the rest. 1 lap behind, 3 teams that are stacked up there behind them. Wim Stottinger, Marino De Pauw with Mark Hester and Oliver Wolf. They are the 4 teams that really have separated themselves from all of the rest. Bradbury and Chris Latham, the only team 4 laps behind, and then a real stack of riders and teams that are 5 laps behind, including Stephen Hall and Josh Harrison, who we saw winning that race of the day in the men's Journey race. Well, it certainly was an incredible scramble, that final Madison chase, and the race of the day was indeed Josh Harrison. So, Josh, what a great ride it was for you to pick up the Journey race.
Yeah, it was exciting. Feeling good in the legs, and I was just, Ron was like, let's go. So, yep, just held on and got there in the end.
Well, it's always good if you're not going to be winning the Madison, which you want to and you try to, but if you can't come away with the Madison win or one of those chases, you've got to pick something up. So to win a Journey, it's great.
Yeah, like the smaller races. Like if you can't win a Madison chase, and like if you can try and stay on the same laps, it's good. But there's lots of points involved as well. So it's good in the small races if you can pick up a few here and there and nudge your way up to 100 and get a free lap.
Get a free lap, yeah, it sounds easy, doesn't it? Just go get yourself 100 points.
Yeah, you got to work hard to get there, though.
And there was a couple of hard moments. That final Madison chase tonight, that was a real scramble. It was interesting to watch.
Yep.
I was losing my breath in commentary, and I was thinking, if we do another 4 nights of this, I'll be just as cooked as the riders.
Yeah, no one wanted to give anyone an inch on that one, did they? So, and you get that. So everyone's fighting for positions. Everyone wants to be on those 0 laps. So if someone's going up the road that someone doesn't want to go up, then they'll just chase them, and you just got to ride and follow. So you can't let them just ride away from you. So
now, you were in London at the opening round of the 6 Day Series this year.
Yeah.
Now, I know you had to have a night off because you were ill.
Yep.
So maybe a different sensation to hear, but how does it seem? The atmosphere in Berlin compared to London? London's been amazing. Berlin's just as good, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, tonight is amazing. It's so loud. The whistles are going off. Everyone's loving it. So I think London has them at the moment with day 5 with Cav winning the final chase. So they've got 4 days to pick up their game. So looking forward to it.
A lot of beer consumed, a lot of alcohol consumed here in Berlin. They're a little bit looser than the Australian regulations in terms of consumption of alcohol.
Yeah, very, very much so. But Aussies can also drink, so we'll just wait till we get there.
Absolutely. We can see everybody's still hanging around. Racing is long over now, but everybody likes to hang around. It's a Friday night.
Yep.
Everyone's come in for a party.
Well, why not? It's a good atmosphere here and everyone's still going. You got your wagon going, so I love it here. So even everyone's going home now, but you can still party on.
Absolutely. Certainly looks fantastic. Still, this is only 2 nights of racing. How does it feel in the legs? Because 2 nights in, still 4 to go, and every time you get on the track, it's a maximum effort.
Yeah.
How are you really feeling with so many races and nights still to come?
Legs are starting to feel a little bit heavy already, and it's only day 2, so just try to tick them over each morning, each day when you come back in, and wake them up a little bit, and hopefully each race they get better and better.
Hopefully you get better and better. Well,
yeah. Well, hopefully that's the case. If not, then just hang on.
Well, we look at 4 nights still to come, as we mentioned, and of course the Saturday night is a big one here at the 6 Days in Berlin. This is what's going to be on offer. We start with the elite women doing a 10-kilometre scratch race into a 30-minute Madison chase for Josh and all of his mates. The sprinters, it was seen into the Dernies. It was Josh that won the first one tonight. We'll wonder who wins tomorrow night. Team elimination, it's always a big one. Another Madison for the elite women. They had one tonight, another 20-kilometre one tomorrow night. That'll wrap things up for the elite women. 3 days of competition for them. But for the elite men, they've got a few more nights still to come. Points race down to the Kirin for the sprinters, and then 25 minutes to finish things off in the third night of competition. So a big night still to come. It's the golden night here at the Berlin 6 Day. So we're looking forward. It'll be the halfway point by the time we get to the end of it. The crowd was fantastic here on the second night in Berlin. We're looking forward to an even bigger and better crowd. The racing was sensational, and it's going to be even better for the third night of competition here in Berlin. So make sure you come and join us. If you can't come down to Berlin, if you're not a local or nearby, make sure you tune in and watch all of the action here from the Berlin 6 Day.